And what's happening, guys? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News. Hopefully, everybody's good out there. Let me fix this microphone, get it up a little bit higher. Amateur. What's happening, guys? Welcome along. It is Monday. Hopefully, everybody's good out there. Hopefully, he haven't been suffering from the Monday blues or any of that nasty stuff. Who's that there? Chilbert, what's happening? Chilbert, I see Chilbert in the audience getting into the comment in there in the hot box. Guys, join Chilbert in the hot box if you're not too busy, if your hands are free. If you're driving and all of that stuff, then obviously keep the hands on the wheel and eyes on the road. I wonder how many people actually, like, you're driving along in your car and actually get a notification, Martin's World is on, let's fucking tune in. I wonder. I know I don't release these in the audio only version afterwards, like literally the live goes out and that's it. I never really released the 420 news in an audio only, so I know people ain't listening to that in the audio only version anyway. So it's much more likely you're listening to an interview driving down the road that I've done rather than listening to the 420 news driving down the road. I think the only exception there is probably GB and anybody else out there who's a professional driver. Right, bowl packed up here anyhow. Lovely. Oh, I see lots more hot boxers getting in there in the hot box. What's happening, Pods? Pods is out there. Pods 4420 says afternoon, Martin and everyone. Hey, green tea. Gotta love the happy Mondays. Happy Mondays, is that what they call them? For them being called much, much worse. Alright, mute that, pause that. Let me just see all your comments. I see Casa there's Drogas out in the audience as well. What's happening, Casa? Hopefully you're all good over there. I've seen a lovely picture of yourself there earlier on with an old bird in your hand. And I don't mean a female lady, I mean a little parrot. So hopefully you're all good over there, Casa. Yeah, enjoying the some of the nicer parts of the planet anyway, at least. Even though it's beautiful blue sky I see out there now out the window and a lovely sunny day here in Ireland, but it still is nippy as feck. Billy Bonds is in the audience. Green tea, what's going on, guys? Jim Macon, Chilbert. Anybody else there I missed? Fudge, what's happening, Fudge? Rashers is out there as well. Rasher says, hey, Gromies. Guru Ganji Goat's in the audience. What's going on, Mr. Guru? Others out there as well. Anyone I missed? Constant, what's going on, Constant Gardner? Constant Gardner saying here, high Mondays are the only way to go. Well, there you go. We don't do low Mondays over here on 420 News. We only do high Mondays. So with that one said, guys, blaze them on up if you got them. It's 424 out there. So again, what else? 424? It's for this. See B Mooney dropping into the hot box there as well. What's happening, Mr. B Mooney? Saying yo, Martin and everyone. Alright, I promise this time I will actually get through the news today rather than chatting crap with yourselves. Not chatting crap, but just shooting the breeze, I suppose. I really enjoyed that last episode we did last week. This day last week, I believe it was, actually was the last time I was on streaming, and I think we got in nearly 3 hours of like just chatting between ourselves. I think we covered about 5 news headlines in that space of time. But today, yeah, we'll definitely get the news headlines done in the earlier part of the show, and we'll shoot the breeze then towards the end. Excusey. Oh, Green Tea says she's just on the lemon haze. Very nice green tea. Oh, lemon haze. I always love hearing like the lemony kind of flavour tasting weed. It's just like, yes, brings back happy memories. Others in the audience, I say hi to everybody. I think I said hi to everybody. Oh, I see Krisham Ja. What's happening, Krisham? See, I'm almost missed somebody. Damn headphone wire getting stuck under the chair. So Christian J, what's happening? How you keeping, Martin? I'm keeping mighty fine, actually. Thank goodness. Managed to get down and teach a little bit of self-defense there today, which I really enjoy doing. Hopefully I can make that a much more of a part of my career, I suppose. We'll see what happens, working on it anyway. Chilbert UK says, hands on my joint, Martin. Nice homemade hash. Nice. Hashtag make hash, not war. That's a hashtag I can get behind. There you go. Like, you know, imagine if you got like the likes of Putin, Biden, fucking Boris Johnson, and whoever the Ukrainian president is, and just get them into another room and get a hot box going. You know, pass around a dose of mushies there as well. You know, just give them like a good 48 hours there together, a nice weekend retreat, and sort all this shit out. You know, there's fucking 150,000 troops there. Just send them there to, I don't know, take care of some old people, you know, who might be feeling lonely out there or something. Man, war. I really just don't understand this, like these lunatics. But look, we won't get into that because I'm sure many of you are probably sick of hearing about that crap at the moment. You know, I don't know what to even say there. You know, the people over there suffering the effects of it, like, but it's obviously not going to be good. But look, we'll try to focus on the cannabis for here. Anybody over there in the Ukraine, tell me how hard it is to get cannabis right now. Again, look, I'm fucking. I shouldn't be really joking about that. There's probably people over there dying and shit, like, but you know, what can you do? Oh, lots more comments after flying in there. Chilbert UK, did you have a good weekend at Martin's World? I certainly did. Got to hang out with the fam for pretty much all of the weekend. So yeah, it was mighty. Really enjoyed it now, I have to say. We didn't do too much, but yes, we enjoyed it. We baked an amazing cake, myself and Alexis. Baked a savage chocolate fudge cake. Yes, it was decent. So yeah, no, it was a mighty weekend though. As I said, any weekend where you're baking a chocolate fudge cake is a good weekend. But thanks for asking, nice one. Anyone else out there? We'll get through a few more of your comments there before we get stuck into the show. Who's that? Tom Tyler. What's happening, Tom Tyler? Peace and love to you all, to all of you. Nice one, Tom. Feeling love there. Nice one. Really appreciate that. And rashers as well. Fruity unknowns. The mystery bags. Others out there. Oh yes, make hash not war. Noel Mullane. Heard Martin has put 20 million into Foda. Heard Martian. Or Martin. Is that Martian? Is the aliens invested into Foda Island? It's the first I heard of it. Anybody fact check Noel there? Is there aliens invested into Foda? The last I heard, it was just Japanese, wasn't it? It was bought there not too long ago by a Japanese family who bought the Kingsley Hotel there as well. It was Japanese or Chinese or something. Korean maybe? I'm not too sure. Asian of some sort anyway. But yeah. Maybe there's a little joke there, Martin, man. This is our Noel, and it's just flying over Martin's head there. Chilbert UK says, t-shirts coming soon, Martin. Nice. Make hash, not war. Is it alright if I get some of those printed there as well, Chilbert? Are we okay to use that hashtag? I get a few of those t-shirts up there on Martin's World.ie as well, if that's alright. And Casa de Stragas dropping in another a great line for a t-shirt there as well. Drop yolks, not bombs. There we go. Like, again, same kind of thing there applies. You know, imagine getting Putin and your man from Ukraine and whoever else is involved, you know, and all of them, get them into the room, play, you know, a bit of just give them a few yolks, you know, a bit of MD, plenty of water there, you know, give them nice cuddly, soft, fluffy blankets and shit like that, like, and just war never even happened, you know, the boys would be best of buddies. Imagine that, like, imagine Biden and the other world leaders, like, you know, just all off their nut on a bit of MD, just like, I love you. Why were we even going to war? Like, I love you. I'm so silly for wanting to fight with you. Jack Chrism, giving a shout out to anybody in the hotbox there that anyone play UFC 4 on the PS? I actually see that was the free game there recently as part of the PS Plus. So I have it available to me. I'll see if I can get it downloaded on the PS5 at some stage, and if I do, I'll definitely drop you a line, Jack Chrism. Mac Bubbles. Mac Bubbles. I believe it was just Mac Bubbles, and you'll be able to add me there on PlayStation Network. So there you go, MC Bubbles. Because I'm the microphone coordinator. Not Martin Condon. Chilbert UK says, great for my IBS and my mood, oddly enough. And Pods4420 says the whole aliens thing won't be too far away. Was it somebody on the High and Homegrown saying it last night? They were like, oh yeah, if Russia drops the old nuke, do you think the old aliens will come down and stop them? Who knows? Who knows? Whoop, whop, whop, whoop. What's happening? He says they are on the adrenochrome. The dreaded adrenochrome suckers. What's happening? R420 supplies out there in the audience as well, guys. If you're out there in the hot box, guys, and you need some papers, bongs, pipes, whatever else you might tickle your fancy there, check out r420.ie. They're commenting in the hot box, so if you got questions there, fire them their way. I'm sure Kev would be more than happy to help you out, guys. Located above there in Portlaoise. Also online, delivering all across Ireland and the UK, I believe. Who else is out there? Chilbert says, hope you're back in form soon at High and Homegrown. It's High and Homegrown, the audience, did I miss you? Oh, there you go. I see High and Homegrown there, says, feel a bit shit today, so taking it easy. Good stuff, Mackie. Yes, definitely, you got to take it easy. It's something I should be taking a leaf out of that book myself, I'd say. But I just can't rest. Fucking, you know what I mean? There's a war being waged against us currently, so like, you know, as much as there's a war going on over in Russia, there's been a war going on here in the streets of Ireland and streets of the UK, and it's known as the war on drugs. They call it the war on drugs, but in reality it's a war on drug users, the way in which it's been fought. You know, because would you say like 70 to 80% of the cases before the courts are to do with personal possession of drugs, whereas like 20 to maybe even 10% of the cases are to do with like dealing and production? Would you? I don't know. Would I be far off in that? I don't know. But I would definitely think that there's more of a war on drug users than there is on drug dealers or drugs. So yes, condemn wars everywhere, including the fucking war on drugs. Gonna throw up a poll, guys. I wanna get your input here on a poll. It's over on YouTube, so it's only for the YouTube viewers. But it's asking, do you consume cannabis before you exercise? Hopefully I spelled exercise right. Anyway, it's not a spell correcting me. EXERCISE? Yeah, exercise. I'll struggle with that one. Simple yes or no, guys. And do you know what? Actually, it's not a simple yes or no. It's a yes or no or I don't exercise. Because maybe people out there don't exercise. That's okay too. But again, I'm asking this question here, and how I would define exercise, guys, I would include walking your dog. So simply, if you consume a bit of cannabis before or while you're walking your dog, there you go. You consume cannabis before and or during. Yes, and or during exercise. Yes, so the question actually is, do you consume cannabis before and or during exercise? Ask your community. So the question is up there. I see a few yeses coming in already, is there? Yoga is probably quite a common one, I'd say, that people would be messing around with. Yoga and cannabis are an incredible old combination, in fairness. Boom. Just close that there now. Apologies. Hopefully the computer doesn't crash. Oh, Sean M. Duggan is stuck on a bus. Oh no, Sean. And here I am hitting bongs and you're stuck on a bus. Sucks to be you. Hopefully you got something nice waiting for you at the end of that bus journey. Who's that there? Chilbert says, drop seed bombs this spring. Autoflower, cover our countries. Yeah. Cover our countrysides. Yes, definitely, Chilbert. I'll be with you on that one anyway. I've got a few autoflowers stocked up. I'll be getting a few more stocked up as well. We'll get those into good locations. And I've got a lot of other hemp seeds, cannabis hemp seeds, which will be utilised in many, many locations all across the spring and summer. So I look forward to feeding the birds this year. Rasher says, thought you didn't sound your usual self last night, Mackie. Get well soon. There you go, guys. Lots of get well soons coming in there from Mackie. Same for myself. Kind of echo there what Rasher is saying. Fwetch there as well says, evening all. Hope everyone is well. As I said, Mackie's not feeling too good, guys. So, sending a bit of love, Mackie's well. A bit more love. Chilbert UK says, who's joining those at R420 supplies and me in the 3-day tolerance break this 29th, 30th and 31st of February? And guys, you're all addicted. You're never going to be able to do it. I betcha you're never going to be able to do it. Because you're all addicted. You're all addicted to the old devil's lettuce. The 29th, the 30th and the 31st of February. It's just not going to happen. I betcha. Just, John, send me proof. Show me the echo there now tomorrow with the old 29th and the 30th and the day after as well. Get the dates going. Yes. But yeah, that's been a funny old one, alright, doing the rounds. Obviously, there is no 29th, 28th, or 30th and 31st of February because it's not a leap year, guys. What's happening? I see Robert hopping into the hot box as well. Says normally has take a big joint after training. Nice. Yes, Robert's getting the answer in over there on Facebook as well, saying yes. And is it normally after training so you would consume, or before as well? I know myself, I definitely like to consume before training anyway. Like, depending on what my intention is to go down training, but like, often than not, I have a lot of cardio planned, and I always find that just getting a nice and high before go down doing a load of cardio, it just helps you find that zone a lot easier. I don't know. It's a story we're going to be finishing with today. So again, just the reason behind the question. I just wanted to gather some data there from the audience as well to see what it's like out there for yourselves. If you're much like myself, or if you're a bit different, that's okay too. But yeah, I just wanted to see what portion of the audience consumes cannabis before they exercise. Before or during. Billy Bond says, does wanking count? Because most certainly are. Because most there certainly do that daily. I suppose, like, yes, if it takes you longer than 2 minutes, then, that you could count that as a workout, I suppose, Billy. It has to take you longer than 2 minutes, and you have to swap hands halfway, you know what I mean? So, like, at least 1 minute on each hand, and then it's a workout, Billy. Amy Riley says, yoga is amazing after a smoke. Yeah, it is. I definitely attest to that. I used to love the yoga classes I used to go to there with my buddy in Cork. We used to do it nearly religiously every Wednesday night. It was to break up the Thai boxing. It was Thai boxing Monday, Tuesday, Thai boxing Thursday, Friday, yoga on a Wednesday. And believe me, we needed it too. Like, you go up into that yoga class, and it was just it was an amazing transition, in terms of intensity. But it wasn't that the yoga wasn't intense. It was just its own level of intensity as well. It was really nice. Really liked it. I really miss it, actually, to be honest. I would love to find a nice cannabis-friendly yoga studio here in Cork. Shout out to any yoga teachers out there who might be able to accommodate. Ken Green says, before, during, and after. He says he likes to hike. Yes, that's a great one. Cannabis and the outdoors, amazing. Getting a little bit high before you go out there, and having a little bit while you're out there as well. Stopping to sit down, take it all in. Absolutely amazing. I think it's just something about how cannabis brings you into the here and the now, and it really allows you to appreciate just the outdoors while you're hiking. You just notice things that you probably wouldn't have noticed otherwise, if you were to be, and it's not to say that hiking sober isn't great. Like, hiking sober is good. I just think that, there's just something added when you have that cannabis. Whoop, wop, wop, whoop. Bodybuilders, jiu-jitsuers, snowboarders, all enhanced performance on weed. And yes, let's not forget the wakeboarders. Let's give a shout out there to Mike Wise. Mike Wise, who's behind OG Labs, I think is his old company. But yeah, he's into the wakeboarding. I believe he's like number one in like Europe or something like that, or maybe yeah, somewhere in the world even. But yeah, cannabis consumers in all sports. Casa Dastroga says, high intense training and swimming, yes, but yoga and meditation, no. Interesting, yeah. So in the high intense training and swimming, you would like to get a little bit high, but for yoga and meditation, you don't. That's interesting. Because you would almost think that many people would almost prefer the cannabis for the yoga and meditation. But again, they each their own. It's not a prerequisite for them by any stretch of the imagination. And yeah, it is always good to be doing these things as well, I suppose. Sober in mind as well, especially meditation, I suppose. It's always good to try to meditate in many states of mind, I suppose, not just always doing it while you're high. I think sometimes when you try to meditate when you're high, you might end up falling asleep. At least that was kind of my experience. And we used to do meditation actually in college, and it used to always be at lunchtime at about 1 o'clock. I used to always get a little bit high before I went to college, but by lunchtime, you couldn't, you probably had a lingering effect, but I wouldn't really regarded myself as being high. But I could definitely say that after the meditation, there was a feeling of like some level of highness, but not as like from the cannabis, it was from the meditation. Really cool. Miss those days, actually, even college days, yoga and meditation. Jeez, guys, the comments just keep on coming. We'll be 3 hours into the show now. Apparently they took our jobs. That was lined up for later on. That just automatically played all on its own there for some reason. Mute that site for a while. Yes, good old South Park. Yes, green tea as well. Adding in nothing like a hike in the woods with some smoke. Yes. B Mooney saying, great for information. Ask Arnie. There you go. And Arnie would know. Arnie Schwarzenegger, for anybody who's wondering who's Arnie. John Phantom says, if you split the months into 13 months with 28 days, you get 1 day left over. The Christians sure messed up the calendar. Tom Tyler says, some sativa dom is great before exercise. Big stamina increase and better breathing. There you go. You see, this is the thing we're fucking missing here in Ireland, is that you don't get that choice. Like right now, I've got some crystalline entity. And to be very honest, I don't know the genetics behind the crystalline entity as to what it is in terms of its dominance. But it's definitely doesn't feel like it's a sativa. But that's the kick in the nuts, because you're dead right. It would be great if you were able to get access to a sativa in order to enhance the experience of exercise. Excuse me, the experience of exercise, because hitting a heavy hitting indica there before you get on for a run is probably not the best of ideas either. Billy Bond says, I passed 2 weeks fully intensive lifeguard course and working with no issues, and we was in the pool for 3 hours a day roughly. I passed all swimming tests, and I'd imagine you're saying here that you done that while you were And Rasher saying, fair play, Billy Bonds. Went back playing 5-a-side recently, puked guts up after first night. Yeah, that's it. Like once you fall off the horse of fitness, it's a tough climb to get back up onto her. But don't give up. Just because it's been difficult the first time doesn't mean you're not going to get up the next night. As I say, I've been teaching the beginners Thai boxing there for many years down in Samson Martial Arts. And I've seen many people coming in on their first night down on the mats and thinking, yeah, decent. I've done a bit of running and whatever outside, thinking they're a little bit fit. Next, they come down to a beginners Thai boxing class, and you see them running off just like before the warm up even ends. There sometimes like, feel bad, and I'm like, but it's kind of funny when you see it as well at the same time. Paddy J says, I mostly have a smoke in my shed. The exercise I perform is generally seeing how many spiders I can't get stoned. It's an intense workout, that. How many spiders you can get stoned, I'd imagine there's a bit of an autocorrect there maybe. yeah, I see the autocorrect actually there in the next one. Amy Riley says, do it with your kids, Martin. I actually would get up in the morning and do a bit of yoga with Alexis. Alexis really enjoys the yoga. Meant to get up there and out this morning, but unfortunately didn't set the alarm early enough, so we didn't get up to do it. But tomorrow morning, definitely. Screw your freedom. Dear demons like exercise. Do demons like exercise? Think'll think. Right. Nice one. That's the end of the comments. Finally reached the end. I think I deserved a bowl for that one. But before yes, I'll pack up the bowl and we'll hit the headline. Let's hit the headline as I pack a bowl. Boom, there we go. Headline should be up now. So the first headline is coming out of Ireland, and it's the Irish courts, where in a court in Ireland, the judge was told that a man had grown cannabis, which he had gotten from some budgie seeds. This is an interesting enough case. Where it comes out of in Ireland, again, it's fucking eluding me right now. But this is an operation which was described by the prosecuting guard as an unsophisticated operation to grow cannabis plants. And this was above in the Kilkenny district courts. And this was a case that happened, I believe, it was from... When was this case from, actually? No, I believe it was from this... I think it was from Friday. Yes, it was from Friday. But anyway, this man was up before the courts, and he's from above in Kilkenny, and he pleaded guilty for being in possession of 2 cannabis plants. And it's interesting enough here in this case, because like the man, when he was in court, he said that he was under pressure, that he was under threat from the man he lived with, because the man he lived with actually owned one of the cannabis plants. So this guy was kind of snitching on his buddy after the fact, because he's now living in a different property away from that guy. But apparently the cops were actually calling out to follow up on that other individual. So not the guy who was up before the courts for the 2 plants, but the other guy. But this guy actually told the cops that in his statement that he owned them, but he said he did so because he was under threat from his housemate. We don't know what the truth is in that matter. But still, nonetheless, there was no lights, no fans, no tents, nothing. This guy was literally, apparently anyway, after buying some budgie seeds, maybe the boys had budgies, I don't know. And they found like, oh, it has like a cannabis seed. Oh, that looks like a cannabis seed. Let's grow it. Like maybe, I don't know. Like, what's the likelihood of that? Like, I don't know. It just seemed a very far-fetched story. Like, but it's hilarious if there's if there's a truth to this, because if they did actually get the cannabis seeds from a budgie feed pack, that was a hemp seed. Anything that they were going to grow there, it was going to get nobody high. But still, despite that, the cops went and valued it then at €1,600. They said that once the plant had fully grown, that's the estimated value which they would have put upon it. But because of the unsophisticated nature of the operation, they're still calling it an operation. The guy literally had 2 cannabis plants that fucking apparently he grew from a budgie seeds. That's an operation, apparently. Like, oh man, these cops, like they really like the operation there. And it was a grow operation. The boys like, the grow operation. Oh, madness. So the defendant's solicitor, Chris Hogan, said that the plants were found outside the house in an unsophisticated operation. There were no lights or other paraphernalia, and the estimated value was based on if the plants had grown to full height. He said that his client had told him that just one of the plants was his and the other belonged to his housemate, but the Gardai, but he told the Gardai both were his because he was under threat from the other person. The solicitor said it was in fact the other person in the house who was of interest to the Gardai, hence why the property was raided. And saying here that the defendant has now moved out of that house and is working full time and hasn't gotten into any difficulty since. The solicitor said that his client has been experimenting and he had grown cannabis from budgie seeds he bought in a supermarket chain. That's just mad. It says, following a same-day assessment by a probation officer, Judge Geraldine Carty sentenced the defendant to carry out 240 hours of community service in lieu of serving 4 months in prison. And again, 240 hours community service. If we just say that's a €10 minimum wage, let's say, because the minimum wage in Ireland, what actually is the minimum wage in Ireland? Like minimum wage in Ireland, Wage, minimum wage, Ireland is 10.50 actually. So 10.50 is the minimum wage in Ireland. But let's just say, for argument's sake, this guy's a criminal. He's not entitled to the extra 50 cent. We're giving him a tenner. That's €2,300 that this guy is going to be working, paying, or sorry, €2,400 that this guy is going to be doing, voluntarily. So he's going to be voluntarily, in terms of the work done, if he does all 240 hours, and if he was to be receiving €10 per hour, that would be €2,400 he's donating instead of, prison time, 4 months in prison. It's mad. And keep that one in mind, guys, because we're going to get to another story in about 2 headlines, and just keep that in mind. So here we have a case where a person got caught with 2 cannabis plants, pathetic apparently cannabis plants, they were being grown without any lights. That this happened in July of 2020 as well. So this has happened over 2 years ago. So almost 2 years ago. It would have been during July, so again, there's a possibility there that the plants could have been doing quite well on a windowsill given the time of year or whatever, but still, nonetheless, without any lights and stuff, the plants aren't going to be that good. And the possibility to get some nice bud at the end without some decent lights there or without the right genetics, then, if the guy's got them out of budgie seeds, like, it's probably 2 males, like, but again, as I said, keep in mind that the punishment for this was 240 hours for 2 cannabis plants, equating, again, if you put a €10 per hour onto that, that would have been €2,400 worth of community service being done in lieu of serving 4 months in prison. Keep in mind, if the person served 4 months in prison, that would have cost the state, it's about roughly 80,000 for 12 months, so it would have cost the state for 4 months there about €20,000. Is that right? Yeah, €20,000. Yeah, €20,000 that would have cost the state. The equivalent per prisoner per year, €20,000 if they were to lock him up. So instead of costing the state now €20,000, he's actually going to do the work, which would have been worth the equivalent of over €2,400 if the guy was to get paid a minimum wage for the community service. So again, just keep that in mind. €2,400 for one of the cases we'll be dealing with there in a couple of minutes. Mad stuff though. Yeah, sophisticated operation is right. I packed up a bowl. I better blast into that. Oh no. I forgot to bring up my Ishka. I think there's another bottle in there, boy. We'll grab it there in 1 second. Hey, girls only. Girls only, you've got no patience. Not only is your name rude, but you're very impatient, girls only. That's why you're living up to your name, isn't it, girls? Girls are always impatient. Change your name. Be more inclusive. Jokes. Other comments coming in there. Yes, budgie seeds. Who's this? B Mooney says budgie seeds often contain hemp seeds. I remember a Spanish mate showing me years ago. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised, let's just look it up. Let's look it up. Budgie seed mix. Let's have a quick Google. Let's see. So petshop.ie. So this is just the first link that comes up. So no, there's no hemp in this one. Okay. Test failed. I thought that the first budgie seed mix might have had hemp seeds. Nope. Darren Newcomb says hemp seeds, but I'm sure they still use them. Rashers, where's the hammers? Rasher wants a hammer, I think. Rasher asking, and you shall receive. Boom, there we go. We got one more hammer wielder in the audience. The birdseed man of Alcatraz. Right, I'm going to get this bowl into me, and then we'll get on to our next headline. So blaze him if you got him out there, guys. Shout out to Temple Grower, dude. That crystalline entity tastes absolutely divine. Darren Newcomb saying Trill used them. Don't think they're used anymore. Probably because of the price of them. There's so much hemp seed oil now being used for CBD products and all of those other things. Ooh, excuse me. So it's probably putting the price of hemp seeds maybe outside of the reach of some of the, you know, the old generic budgie seed kind of mixes. You know, it's normally just whatever's the old cheap corn seeds. And yeah, exactly. Hemp seeds have been they're amazing for your health. Just don't plant them or you're a criminal. But hemp seeds are amazing for your health. You know, they got a complete range of all of the amino acids, including the essential ones, as in the ones that your body doesn't produce itself. Now there's a bit of controversy around whether hemp protein is considered to be a complete protein, because they actually say that there's not enough of one of the essential amino acids. Which one I can't remember right now, but they say there's not enough of it to say that it's a complete source of protein. But still, nonetheless, it has all of the amino acids, all of the essential ones as well, more importantly. Apparently though, it just doesn't have enough to be regarded as a complete source of protein. So there you go, a little fact for you. Just losing out by a tiny little fraction as well, I believe. I can remember we having this argument as well in the herbal science thing, like I being a big proponent. It's like, but fucking hemp is complete protein. It's like, no, it's not got enough of this one. What are the essential amino acids? Just to refresh my memory again, what were they? The essential ones. Get up my little list here. The essential amino acids. So I think it was either the leucine or the lysine was the one, or maybe the isoleucine was the one that I didn't have enough of. I think off the top of my head now, I'm just fucking again going back to like 5 or 6 years ago. But yes, the essential amino acids are arginine, histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine. So there you go. Jeez, that's a trip down feckin' memory lane. Apologies to anybody who has taught me biology and taught me that list specifically for not remembering them. I can remember one or two of them, but I certainly couldn't remember all of them. But there was, I can remember it was like 21 amino acids, isn't it? 21. There you go. That's all of the science there now for today. I was strolled down memory lane. Let's move on with the headlines. As we get another headline out of Ireland where the Gardai have made an amazing seizure. It's one that's brought an end to the war on drugs here in Ireland. All the cannabis is gone now, guys. So you better just stop looking. But the Gardai have seized €80,000 worth of cannabis and cannabis jellies, and a little bit of cocaine there as well above in Referendum, I believe this is. The Gardai said that the search was carried out as part of Operation Tara, and there pictured is the haul. So you see within there the lovely colourful packets of the cannabis edibles, the cannabis jellies, and the lovely cannabis then as well above that, and as well as a single lonesome bag of cocaine there, wrapped up similarly to more bags of cannabis there as well in the white plastic bags. But it's the very white one there above those kind of yellow packs of jellies. That's the bag of cocaine. But the Gardai say that the search was carried out as part of Operation Tara, and all of the drugs will be sent for examination and analysis by the Forensic Science Ireland. So there you go again, like Ireland spending way more resources than we can really afford to be expending on this issue again. We see here all of these cannabis jellies. Again, another example as to how young people are ever more at risk as to the dangers of exposure here to these products, because the real danger is not that they get their hands on the products and that they get a bit stoned from the cannabis. The danger is that these things don't even contain cannabis and that they're being sold by somebody who's adulterated them with some sort of synthetic chemical. One of these other, God only knows what the letters are these days associated with them. But wasn't there one N-Pinka or something? all sorts of different ones on anyway. Let's call it spice. Let's call it spice for simplicity. But this could be contaminated with that shit, and then it gets into the hands of a young person. And next, the headline is teenagers, multiple teenagers hospitalized after eating cannabis jellies. But in reality, they're not after eating cannabis jellies. They're after eating a synthetic cannabinoid that's been introduced into a jelly-like product. Do you know? But again, this is coming from a ban-hammered and 8-year-old. Guys, did you hit Alexis with the hammer? You didn't. That's all right. I thought somebody hit girls only there with the hammer. Sorry, I was sidetracked there. But again, yes, wasted resources here. We could sort this out overnight. Our policymakers could simply turn around and say, look, we're going to end this prohibition once and for all. We're going to regulate for these products and how they're going to be delivered to the consumers. One thing I'd love to see done away with, and I don't know how you would, where you would lie out there with this, but the product packaging. I don't think that there's a need for all of this fanciness. I think it's cool and it's great, for marketing and all of that. But to be honest, all I want to know is how much cannabinoids are in there, as to what terpenes might be in these products, if there's even any terpenes in the products, because it could be made with a THC isolated, if you're into that. Apologies. So again, for me, I would be of the opinion that these should be done in plain packaging. That on it says contains cannabis jellies, whatever the jelly might be, whatever flavour. Or, might give you an idea as to the shape of the jelly even. I don't know how they might do that on the outside, but like all of this colourful stuff and making it look like, kids' jellies, no, that doesn't sit well with me. So I think our policymakers here need to, have a close examination of this and to really see how they can improve the situation, and hopefully they'll see the sense that yes, regulation is the way we're going to actually improve this, rather than coming out and saying we need to say no to drugs. Kids need to not be buying these, because when has that ever worked in the past? It hasn't. So 80 grand's worth of cannabis, and I suppose as well not to forget again the presence of the cocaine here. Again, if this was a regulated industry, then this cannabis would be coming from a venue where cannabis and cannabis alone would be sold, and therefore the risk of being offered another drugs such as cocaine or Xanax or any other drug out there, which a drug dealer might try to sell for you, to you to make a bit of profit, that's not going to happen. And why that's not going to happen is because you put proper policies in place. So therefore, you'd eliminate this a gateway model that's created by prohibition as well at the same time. B. Mooney thrown in here. Forensic science are in Ireland equals drug testing experts. Let them work at festivals so that it can provide a useful service to society, not just for prosecuting victims of the drug war. There you go. That's a very good suggestion as well. That would be really cool if, like, the Forensic Science Ireland were to facilitate, the drug testing at the festivals, in order to kind of, and not just festivals too, that the Forensic Science Ireland would be some sort of arm of the government, I suppose, that would go out into nightclubs while prohibition exists, and do, create an amnesty where people can come submit samples to be tested and get the results out by the end of the night as well. Text alert there to people. We tested this batch there a while ago. If you owned batch B11111420, then your sample was contaminated with fucking cement and I don't know, lidocaine or whatever the contaminants are in cocaine these days. Be really cool. But unfortunately, that's in a perfect world that would be the case. In a perfect world, actually, we'd be just going into a chemist and buying a regulated supply of your cocaine, actually. That would be a perfect world. I think says it, B. Mooney, they might be helping people then, so that's a no-no. Yeah, it seems like the authorities here in Ireland are hell-bent and doing the complete opposite to actually helping people, isn't it? So I definitely would agree with that. Rasher's adding in here as well, says have to send to the UK to test anything. Yeah, there's a few services over in the UK that do drug testing, and I think for cannabis as well, that there's a couple in Spain. So I can't remember them off the top of my head. I don't know if Cannabis Drug Ass is still out there in the hot box, but there is a couple of services in Spain as well that would allow you to send some cannabis samples over to them, and they give you some instructions as well as the how to prepare it before you send it to them. So there you go. Pots for 22 grams of your purest flake, please. You got any of that rocket fuel? So here we go to the next headline. And the next headline is as follows. It's coming out of Cork, and it's again another negative one, I suppose, from this point of view. But it's 2 Polish drug mules were caught with cannabis on Midleton bus a week after coming to Ireland. So this is 2 men who had travelled to Ireland, apparently seeking work, but unfortunately didn't find a work, so ended up getting involved in the drugs trade, apparently, as the story is going here. But they were up before the courts here. And they were facing the possibility because the amount of drugs that they got caught with, the amount of cannabis which they got caught with, both of them, was over €13,000. So because it was over that €13,000, that means that both of them were facing a minimum mandatory, and again, emphasis on the mandatory here, right? This is supposed to be a mandatory 10 years in prison, because they broke the laws around drugs, okay? Mandatory. Do you remember mandatory wear masks? You couldn't go into a fucking shop and all of this nonsense there you are. Thank God that shit's behind us now. But you know, remember you want that shit was mandatory? Well, apparently this is mandatory as well, apparently giving these guys a 10-year prison sentence. But no, and in this case, what the judge actually gave the guys was a 5-year prison sentence. They've been in custody since September when they got caught with the drugs. The sentence then, all right, get this, it will be suspended in its entirety once the family provide a plane ticket for them back to Poland. So there you go. And I looked it up. So you see there in the lower third, I say there in the lower third, the men were facing the possibility of a 10-year prison sentence, but can now be free for as little as €17 each. Because I looked it up a while ago, and it was €17. Literally, like over, and there was no specific dates here on this, but when I looked it up earlier, it was €17 for the cheapest flight out of Ireland to Poland. That's going from Dublin, but even from Cork, over the next 6 months, €17 was the minimum price flying from Cork to Poland. So for €17, these guys, you know, they went from a 10-year mandatory to a 5-year sentence to, you can get out tomorrow, lads, if somebody, you know, buys you a ticket there back to Poland. How messed up is that, guys? How discriminatory is that to any of the rest of us here in Ireland who, if we were up before the judge facing that, we could have gotten that 5 years in prison. We might have gotten 5 years with 2 suspended, you know? But for the 2 Polish lads, it's, look, lads, get a plane ticket home there and you can go on away. Otherwise, you have to stay here for 5 years in prison. That's messed up, isn't it? Like, what message does that send to the organised crime gangs out there? That, like, literally it's just kind of saying, hey, come on over to Ireland. Literally, like, all you fucking gangs out there across Europe, and come on over to Ireland. Like, because literally, if you get caught drug dealing over here, if you're over here within the first week, and you know, if you've not been in trouble before, if you've not got that much of a criminal history, as these 2 lads didn't have much of a criminal history, they had nothing in their past apparently, you pretty much will get loud home for the price of a plane ticket, you know. So just make sure you're traveling from somewhere where it's cheap to fly to, like Poland. €17, like, and you're off. Literally €17, and these guys get to go away home. Like, messed up. Like, I can get a year in prison for just having a joint. Like, I'm up before a judge there again next month, down in Dungarvan, and he has the power to give me 1 year in prison and a €1,500 fine. That's the maximum sentence you can get for personal possession of cannabis in Ireland. If I was to be growing cannabis, so I'm up for 6 6 charges of cultivation across the city of Cork. Some of those charges involved 1 plant, others involved 6 plants. So the number of plants, it's brought me over to the 13,000. So I'm in that 10-year range apparently for that cultivation. So like if a judge finds fit, like where's my €17? Like can I go to Spain? Can I go over there and fucking what's the story there, Alicia? You got a spare room there I can borrow for a while. You like, that's how messed up is that? And then if I was to get on that plane and head over there and get a place in Alicante or anywhere else across the rest of Spain, I can legally grow some cannabis plants in the privacy of my own home because the state over there respects the privacy of the individual. How messed up is that? Like we're getting rode here in Ireland, like, we really are getting rode here. Like, what are your views on that? So again, and remember the earlier case, the budgie seeds guy, €2,400 worth of his time. He used to give 240 hours community service, while these guys, €17, and they get to go home tomorrow. It's literally €17 if the plane tickets are there for them. And it'll be the prison service will shuttle them to the fucking airport as well. Literally, they'll get brought to the airport by the prison service, and it's like, yeah, good luck there now, lads, and they go back home and they're free. They don't have to go to prison or nothing. Well, the rest of us then, any of us here who've been here for longer, is it just people with Irish passports or what? Like, it seems like, if you've just arrived here, so again, it's an open invitation to the organised crime gangs out there to kind of, hey, get those vulnerable victims that you can exploit over in these countries, because actually in one of these individuals in this case, he's got an extremely sick child back home, and that's what he put forward as an argument as well. So again, that made me think. I was thinking in this case, it was just like, this guy's over there in Poland. He's not got any work and shit like that. He says he's coming to Ireland for work, but maybe his work coming to Ireland was to actually just come over here and move a bit of cannabis around for some of these organised crime gangs. Go over there, make a few transfers, do a few back and forths or whatever the case might be, and we'll give you a couple of grand. And that couple of grand then was going to get him and maybe his really sick child the treatment he needs. Maybe he needed to get his child out of Poland, maybe the healthcare system, like people leave Ireland to get some sort of treatment elsewhere. Maybe that's the same as maybe that's the same as over in Poland. They need to get the feck out of there, and Paddy J, yes, well spotted there as well. Paddy J saying, good segue to talk about your new mic. We're getting road here. Where is it actually? Yes. Got a new little microphone. So I picked up this little bad boy. So this is a wireless microphone holder. So a wireless microphone attaches to this bad boy. This goes over there, and look, yes, we're getting road. So yes, I got myself a little wireless microphone kit. So I got these little doodads, nice, really cool contraptions. It's got this little thing up on top there as well, a little microphone. You can connect, what are those things called, lav mics to these as well, which is really cool. But my intention, I'm going to be out and about in Cork City, going to be saying, hey, what's your opinion on drugs? What do you think about cannabis? This happened yesterday in the Irish courts. What's your thoughts? So it should be good fun. I might do some of that live, but I think a lot of it will be pre-records that I'll then use on the 420 news. So there's something to look forward to there in the 420 news. New developments in the not too distant future. And again, I got to give a shout out to everybody who's donated towards the show, because honest to God, without you guys, I wouldn't have been able to pick up this really nice piece of kit. Because it was it is quite pricey. I did buy it new. So people have donated some bitcoins, and that's where the source of the funds came from for that. So again, thanks very much, guys, and hopefully the content, the improvement in the content there from that will be noticed and appreciated. But thanks, guys. We'll have some fun with that. Manfall says Bitcoin's booming today. Manfall's shh. Don't tell me that. Just go mad at it and fucking sell some there when it was like at 59,000. The Bitcoin price was at like 59 grand, and I was like, yeah, I should probably sell some then, and then I never did, and it went back down to like 30,000 or something like that, you know. So yeah, get a 40 mic cover for the wind. Is this one not good enough? Yeah, is this one not going to be good enough for the wind? I love the smell off of these things when they're new. It smells like a new pencil case. I don't know if any of you got a new pencil case before. Or you fucking pass out with my head inside in one. Yes. But yes, nice one there, Paddy J, for the little highlight and the segue there from we're getting road to I got a new road mic. Tinkle Tink saying here, if I was hiring a mule, I would probably get the mule to ride a mule on his own. Yeah, it's funny that there was two of them, alright, like, it's probably not the best way to do it. It says as well that they smelt like cannabis on the bus, so again, you know, they probably should have been vacuum sealing their shit and, you know, hitting themselves with a bit of links before they went out as well. But you know, what can you do? Hey, see you later, John Phantom. See, John Phantom's bouncing out as well, is it? Rasher says interviews with surround around sound. Ballista says I love a 40 mic cover. I have €4 in Bitcoin from 2014, worth €45 today. Nice. Happy days. Yeah. I'm yeah, I've been, there's been times, you know, what's Ethereum? Ethereum's like fucking 2.5 grand or something at the moment. Ah man, Casa de Strugas taught me buy those things when they were like €11 each. And I was just like, yeah, I probably should, but I was like, I don't have money right now, and 2,500 each now. Man. 2 minutes, guys. 2 minute warning there. The next 420 is rolling around. And it's actually over in the Azores, where I believe Casa is located right now. Also, give me 1 second. I'm just going to get some lubrication. There we go. Much better. Hour in. Gotta get a drink. Ooh. Oh, that was nice. Yes, let's pack a bowl. We got 1 minute, guys. Less than 1 minute, actually. It's at 19 now. I'm busy. I can't get the Chrome up now to show you. Almost there. 420 world clock. Where is she? How long do we have got? 25 seconds. 25 seconds, guys. I'll show you this. Oh man, she didn't work. 5 seconds, and it's the Azores Island and Cape Verde we're blazing up with. He dropped my lighter. So smooth. So smooth. There we go. It's 420. Going to get this thing up there now. Come on up. Maybe if I change it to a different web page, that'll do it. Excuse me. I just want to show you this one thing, and just want let me show you. Yay! It worked. It worked. There we go. You see this, guys? It is 50 days 5 hours and 38 minutes and 50 seconds to 420. So there you go. So 50 days, 5 hours, 38 minutes and 44 seconds to 420. April 420, 2022. So let's get in, hopefully everybody's getting prepared. I know there's festivities planned for Above in Dublin this year. Ourselves at the Cannabis Activist Alliance have got some plans there for 420 this year Above in Dublin. It's on a Wednesday as well this year, guys. If you didn't know, now you know. So 420 is going to be celebrated on a Wednesday this year. If you're one of the unfortunate people who cannot get off of work to attend the protest Above in Dublin, then don't worry. There's also another protest planned for the following Saturday. So not only do we have a protest happening on the 20th of April this year Above in Dublin, but there's another one happening on the 23rd of April this year above in the Phoenix Park then. So the first protest will be happening in Dublin in the main part of the city, going, I believe, from the Garden of Remembrance up to the Dáil, and we'll be at the Dáil then outside of Leinster House at about at 4:20, and we'll engage in an old civil disobedience protest outside of there, as well as there being speeches delivered by a number of speakers who I believe Gino Kenny is confirmed on the day. And we've a couple of others there as well. I'm not too sure of who they are or who's confirmed, so I won't go mentioning any other names. But just know that on 4:20 on a Wednesday, we're going to be gathering above in Dublin, probably gathering at about 2 o'clock, marching at about maybe 3 o'clock, getting to the Dáil at about 3:30ish, kind of 3:45, having some speeches given out. Being ready there then as well at 4:20 for, like, you know, the old you know what, civil disobedience and all of that crack. So that's on the Wednesday, and then on the Saturday as well, just on above in the Dublin's Phoenix Park, there is another cannabis picnic. So again, it's going to be bring your own cannabis event. So that's the protest. Just bring your own cannabis. There's going to be power in numbers there. We'll take over the Dublin's Phoenix Park above there at the Wellington Monument, I believe it's called. So there'll be a gathering up there, like there has been over the last 2 years now. Except the last 2 years it's been in July. This year now it's happening in April, and I believe they're going to be doing something in July and possibly August as well. I'm not too sure, but we'll see what happens there with the major crew or the major protest crew. Yeah. So that's 420 this year in Ireland. Guys, if there's anybody else out there, you know, if you're not able to make the trip up to Dublin, and, you know, if you're like fucking, you know, I want to do something in Galway and I want to do something, you know, down in Cork or blah, blah, you know, wherever it might be, just get in touch, guys. I'll be more than happy to help people coordinate events, to help promote it, you know, help put together some posters and all of that stuff. You know, just keep in mind, just 50 days from today, 50 days. So if you're going to act, then act now, or act very soon at least. Don't procrastinate. Don't fucking do that thing. You know, there's like that. A lot of stoners are known to do procrastinate. Tinkle says, Rashers, how you can use Bitcoin shufflers which swap your Bitcoin with another. Yeah, and there's a small fee for that as well, isn't there? But yeah, that's like a little Bitcoin washing machine. You put in your Bitcoin and other Bitcoins come out which aren't attached to those Bitcoins, completely different. Like, but what were those ones attached to? You know what I mean? You don't know what the Bitcoins you're getting back out of it are, you know? I was kind of saying that to my buddy. It was just kind of like, what if you're getting back more dirtier ones? But yeah, maybe that's something I just don't understand yet either, because like crypto is something that I only just have a tiny grasp on. And he's like a little pin, he's just holding on like that. He's like, oh, I haven't got a firm grasp of it yet. not by any stretch of the imagination. Manfall says, I don't think governments and stuff will be tracking each and every crypto transaction, lads. I don't know the science and stuff, but I'm sure there's a reason they use it for black market transactions. Yeah, no, the government wouldn't really be doing each and every crypto transactions, but I suppose like that there's been cases in on the dark web, where the government have breached, I suppose, they've infiltrated some of these dark marketplaces, and in other instances they've actually created these dark marketplaces. So people have been setting up as vendors on forums, dark marketplaces that were created by the authorities, and under then like literally thousands, millions of pounds, dollars, whatever worth of drugs would be sold under the watch of the authorities. And then at a certain point the authorities then would pounce on the people. But at that point, yeah, I believe they would be kind of going through a lot of the records, and maybe not the individual personal purchases, but maybe for some of the larger ones then they were definitely doing raids on people's properties and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, the dark web, some crazy stuff going on there. Like what was it called? The Enam chat there that we covered last year, or just over a year ago. That was the one over in Australia, where it was done between like the FBI and the American or the Australian Federal Bureau, or something like that. The boys were having pints. That's how they came up with the idea to create the encrypted chat and to get it out there to the criminals. It was while the boys were having pints. They were like, we should create our own chat and get it out there. Funny enough, to the boys, the feds having the pints, talking about how they can stop other people from doing drugs of their choice. Ironic, don't you think? Yeah, Teresa's saying here they're bringing in legislation to regulate digital currency. Yeah, that'll be an interesting thing to happen, all right, as it happens. But yeah, there is talks of regulations. There's already been regulations, I suppose, around digital currency. For at least the what are they called? Those brokers, is it? The brokerages, the likes of Coinbase and stuff like that. So if you've got an account with Coinbase, then you'll be aware that Coinbase ask you for like a passport or forms of like proof of your address and your identity. That's regulation. Like if you went back to not too long ago, then people like Casidas Drogas, you would have been able to meet him, through a thing called local Bitcoin, and you were able to arrange local meetups. And you could go down and you could meet up with a local lad who'd have some Bitcoin, and you give him some cash. He'd send you the Bitcoin there and then you can go home and make your purchases and do whatever you needed to do with your Bitcoin. It was really cool. It was a really cool service. Again, Casidas Drogas could probably talk about a bit more, and hopefully I haven't spoken out of turn there in regards to that one. But I'll hopefully catch up with him actually. Maybe we can have an old crypto conversation there one of the days, and maybe a bit of the dark web as well. But yeah, because as I said, I know so little. There's a really good podcast actually as well. Just to give a plug to it. It's called it is called Dark. Oh crap! I'm just going to get it up there now because it's really worth checking out, guys. If you want to learn about the dark web, there's a few Darknet Diaries. So I just pop this up so you can see this there up on the screen. Go and give it a little focus there, phone. There we go. So Darknet Diaries. So this is by a guy called Jack Ridesitter, and he's got some really good podcasts up there about the dark web and some of the things that I talked about there about the Anam chat, the Encro chat and stuff like that. He's got some really good podcasts up there about that stuff. Has a lot of other ones as well, just not all about drugs and stuff like that or the dark web, but he's got some really good ones in the dark web. I'm sure people in the hotbox can recommend others as well if they're out there, if I've not mentioned them. Right, we have the ball cleaned out. Let's hit that next headline because we're chatting again a bit too much, aren't we? Rasher's here saying, I've bought a few Tangy tokens, supposed to be the new crypto to be used through dispensaries. Could be bunk, but yet to launch. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of, pump and dumps going on out there as well, so, be careful. Tom Tyler says, according to Sense of Seed, some billionaires plans to build on 136 million. Whoa, Tom Tyler with the spoiler, because literally that was the next one. Tom Tyler. A property billionaire hopes to set up a huge cannabis farm on the Isle of Man, which is a small island just off of Ireland. The facility proposed is said to cost over £100 million to be built. That's quite a sum of money. In fairness, and the guy doesn't even have a medical cannabis production license. Apparently, this guy's intention is actually just to build this facility. This is a picture of the facility, and he wants to lease that out to people then who do acquire licenses. So it seems like the Isle of Man has gotten approval there in some part anyway. It's not official yet in any regard. But there's been a big approval or not of approval there from their Minister for Enterprise. His name again now is it's not in front of me right now, so I can't remember his name. But the Minister for Enterprise has welcomed the idea, the proposed idea, and this is the proposed facility. So the facility is going to consist of 10 buildings, and each building then will be leased out to a person who's acquired a license to produce medical cannabis there within the Isle of Man. And the intention is to export it and make a shitload of money in the Isle of Man, which if you don't know, guys, it's known as a tax haven. The island has got a number of billionaires on it, so I don't know how many to be exact, but they've got a number of billionaires, like, which is, you know, it's all you need to be said. But yeah, it's a bit of a tax haven and all that crack, but the guys have their eyes set on making a pile of money selling medical cannabis to the rest of the world. That's what's envisioned here. The guy who's behind it, the name, the property billionaire, it's Peel Group. Peel Group is a real estate firm which is led by a 79-year-old billionaire by the name of John Whitaker. And he's the company's chairman. He's the largest shareholder, and he wants to build a £100 million cannabis facility on the Isle of Man where it is headquartered. So again, this guy, you know, as I said, he's, I wouldn't know, would you call him a tax exile? Maybe he could have been born and bred over there in the Isle of Man. But again, you know, he's based, his company's headquartered over there anyway in this little tax haven. And they want to build this medical cannabis production facility, which is going to be used to be leased out to those who have licenses then to produce it and export it elsewhere. So it's interesting, you know. I just looking through the article there. Is there anything else of interest within that? As I say, it's kind of it's mad to think, you know, that there's an individual such as this interested in investing, you know, 100 million in a plant which has no medicinal benefits apparently. Do you know? Because if you go to court, if I'm up in court, as I said there earlier, next month, and I'm going to be charged with possession of cannabis, which is under Irish law a Schedule 1 drug. And when you look up the definition of a Schedule 1 drug, it is a drug with little or no medical benefits and a high potential for abuse. Now, I know a thing or two about cannabis, and it does not fit that criteria, as it has a high potential for medicinal benefits, not abuse. It can be abuse, most certainly, but high potential for abuse, like, no, it's got a high potential to be enjoyed. And a high potential for you to desire that enjoyment time and time again. Especially if that enjoyment isn't a form of like a night of a full sleep, or a day of pain-free, a pain-free day, or being able to get your food down without violently vomiting back up. This is the kind of happiness that cannabis brings to people, as well as just being like, yes, I feel nice and high. But look, anyway, all jokes aside, I think it's great that, look, there's this investment going and this interest in medical cannabis and medical cannabis production. But seriously, let's have a conversation around the scheduling of cannabis, because how can we keep it in the most restrictive of categories when, like, in fairness, a lot of people could benefit from access to it. A lot of people, and we're still punishing people as if it's not a medicine. And it is. Literally, I was in court at the start of this month, and I witnessed the judge right before my very eyes. I was lucky I didn't get done for contempt of court, because I kind of let out a bit of a bit of an outburst of sorts, The judge stated to a guy, the guy had said to the judge, actually, he's like, oh, judge, look, I lost the top of my fingers, got nerve damage to my hand and whatever, and I've got some pain associated with the nerve damage, and cannabis helps alleviate that pain. And the judge was just like completely dismissive of what the guy had just said, and it was just like, oh yeah, no, I've heard it all before. Gave him some absurd sentence. I believe it was like a 3-month suspended sentence for 20 euros worth of cannabis. It was ridiculous, And I was just like, I couldn't help but say it to Hunter, who was sat beside me, and I was just like, here we go, another judge who thinks he's a fucking who thinks he's, or no, here we go, another a medical professional, a judge who thinks he's a medical professional. That's what it was. Yeah, here we go. Here's another judge who thinks he's a medical professional, making these kind of distinctions when he's not qualified to do so. And I was lucky I didn't get kicked out of the court. To kind of, hey, fucking, don't you be saying that about me. Coming up there on my future. But yeah, 100 million facility over there, and meanwhile others are just getting locked up for growing the same bloody plant. Mad stuff. But yes, nice one, Tom Tyler, for the beating me there to that one. And Tom Tyler asking, how come the government are allowed to grow and sell cannabis but the people are not? Because if you're allowed to grow cannabis, then how is the government going to grow it and sell it to you? They make way more money if you're not allowed to grow it yourself, don't they? Like, if I've got control over something that you want, and you could easily produce it yourself, but I've put a rule in place that says, no, you're not allowed to produce it yourself. You have to get it from me. Or, if you need it, you can only get it from me. Like, imagine how much money you can make. So there you go. That's the reason why. I live on IOM. It gave responsibility from Health Service to Gambling Commission for licensing. Oh, you live on the Isle of Man, IOM. Straight over my head. Nice. That's Roy Duggan out there living on the Isle of Man. He says it gave responsibility from Health Service to the Gambling Commission for licensing. That's a bit absurd, isn't it? They're going to be growing medical cannabis, a drug-like product, and it's the Gambling Commission who are in charge of the licensing. Like, what was the reasoning behind that? I can remember reading that actually, or sometime a while ago, but I can't remember seeing any reasoning around it. Is it the gambling guys are just better at licensing than the health guys? What's that say about the health service stuff over there, if that's the case? Manfall saying absolute power corrupts, absolutely. If the gov catches me growing cannabis, son, then shoot me. Not at all, Manfalls. If the government catch you growing cannabis, dude, just get in touch with me, and you've got not only my support, but I'd imagine the support of many others out there. Guys, that goes to anybody else out there. If you find yourselves with an upcoming court case, and if you believe, that there's a possible prison sentence or anything like that, or if there's a fine coming with it and you just don't want to pay the fine on principle, get in touch, guys. I'll fully support anybody out there. I'll give you the platform here to come on, get your message out there, let people know about your case, just to get your message out to people. And if anybody has to go to prison, then as I said, I'll be out there protesting outside of that prison, wherever it might be. Because I don't think anybody should be going to prison for growing this plant, possessing this plant material, or any extracts from it either. But that's just me, but yeah. I know the rest of you will be there with me as well, guys, if there was to be a protest of some sort like that be called. But nice one for that, Roy, and welcome to the show, Roy. And we got Sean M. Duggan there as well. We got 2 Duggans in the old hot box. They're dug in. They're dug in there. Hey, get away. We drive on, guys, and we got bad news. This was positive news a couple of months ago, but now it's gone to bad news, which is unfortunate. I think I kind of said it at the time that these things have a way of not going as intended. But this is coming out of Italy. Where we've talked before about Italy, where they got over 600,000 signatures to get citizens initiated a referendum. And this went through 2 courts over there. I believe it went through the Supreme Court, but then, and it went through the Supreme Court fine, but when it got to the Constitutional Court, they determined that the referendum did not fit the criteria there to be regarded as a legal document. So basically, they went through it with a fine tooth comb, and they found any reason they could to just abandon the citizens initiated referendum over there in Italy. And yeah, unfortunately though, the referendum, which was looking set to happen over there in Italy, it's now off the cards, which is it's a real kick in the nuts. It really is a kick in the nuts, much like the kick in the nuts that we've received here in Ireland from the Frank Fionn and the Citizens Assembly. But not only that, like, and I didn't include it in any of the headlines here today, like, but I received some other news, and it's bad news. I didn't even want to be sharing it, you know. To be very honest, I wanted to talk about it there last week when I was above in Dublin. I tried to go live from the Funky Skunk there above in Dublin, but unfortunately the internet was just shite above there. But above in Dublin, I got to meet with Gino Kenny. Gino Kenny was above there. He was up supporting the What About Us campaign, the launch of the What About Us campaign. And I'm sure many of you seen the videos that have been up there. Again, I had a shitty week after that day above there in Dublin. 2 seizures there myself on Wednesday, which wasn't very nice to be dealing with. But anyway, above there on Tuesday, I met with Gino Kenny. He was above there. Just didn't have a proper conversation with him by any means, but I got to say hello and stuff like that, and got to ask him a couple of questions. And I asked him, what's the story with the bill? And yeah, he's like, yeah, should be ready there by June. So I was like, June. I was kind of like, what happened to like next week? Like, it was supposed to be the end of February, start of March. Like, and now we're at June again. Like, there's like another 3 months wait added on to that. So like, we've been told now about this since, was it December or November of 2020? So we've been waiting over a year, and now we're going to be waiting a year and a half before we even see the bill. And that's just the bill. So that means when it's finished being drafted. So once it's finished being drafted, that means it's not even going to be like submitted, or at least pulled forward to be voted on, possibly until next year even. At minimum, I would say you'd be looking at October, November. But to be very honest, like, because of this further delay now by Gino and the people above there in the Dáil who are drafting this bill, we're possibly not going to be seeing the cannabis regulation bill get voted on in Ireland until 2023 as well. So that's a shit one, isn't it? Like, I hate the 420 news. It's been fucking so negative all the time, but unfortunately, these are the cards we're being dealt with, and this is what we're dealing with. And, you know, I'm just fucking wading through the shit, and hopefully someday soon we'll get out of it, you know, and we'll fucking just be able to get on and live our life free from having to wade through shit. Because that's what we deal with here in Ireland. Like, you know, there's very rarely an occasion where there's positive news being shared around cannabis, at least, you know, very rarely. We've got the doom and gloom, you know, fucking Mary Scary Cannon, and then, you know, we've got the not so Bobby Smith, like, and I say the not so Bobby Smith because he's ashamed of the name fucking Bobby or Bob, you know. In fairness, like, you know, come on, dude, listen to the man, like, you know. It's the man, it's the healing of the nation. But yes, it does get rather infuriating. But yeah, I suppose, as I said there as well, on Wednesday, I did have 2 more seizures myself. And since then, I've taken a bit more of an aggressive approach now with my cannabis medication. I've managed to get my hands on a number of cannabis capsules. So I've been taking these cannabis capsules right across the day. I'm taking 1 3 times a day. And I'm just keeping that level topped up, and I'm hoping that will manage my seizures. Again, these are cannabis oil made with it's coconut oil and an RSO or FICO, depending on what your terminology is. But that was the oil which was mixed with the with the coconut oil, and then that was dispensed into little capsules. Again, some of them are full, some of them are half full. So again, there's inconsistency there, which I can see quite visibly, even with my own eyes. But look, it is what it is. It's homemade stuff, and it's the best I can get at the moment as a cannabis patient in Ireland. They've given me Tegretol, which is a known anti-epileptic drug. It comes with its own side effects, which includes nausea, dizziness, and amongst others. Others which include a lowering of the immune system in terms of it reduces the immunoglobulin content of the blood, so basically the immune cells. And basically it leaves you open to the respiratory infections and all sorts of other issues, which if you get infected with those things can cause and trigger seizures too, which is, and it takes about, was it like 6 months before I find out if it's actually effective or not, because there's a couple of dosages I have to reach, and they'll determine if it's effective or not. Then at that, it's mad. It's like, come here, hang on a second. Can I not try cannabis there for 6 months first? Can we not try to get it under control with some cannabis? Can I not be fucking patient zero there for your cannabis trials? Because you fucking still not got any cannabis trials happening in Ireland, and you're saying there's not enough evidence. It's like, hello, I'm a patient. I could die without proper access here, and you're willing to just ignore my calls to be helped. You're willing to just kind of continue with this down this path of ignorance where we're gonna, oh, there's not enough evidence there to support cannabis use. No, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. So the gloves are off. That's all I will say. So we drive on, and we got some positive news. Let's go to some positive news, as we've got 2 more headlines to go through. And we'll go to one more, and then we'll finish the poll then at the end of this before we go to the last headline, which you probably know has got something to do with cannabis and exercise. But the next headline is coming out of America. Only in America, living in America. Yes, whatever the song is. Where's my fucking... Oh, there we go. I was looking for my lower third, hadn't set it up. But yes, cannabis is the top job creator in America right now. Yes, there's a cannabis plant over there, and it's just hiring people all over the gaff. It's a giant cannabis plant with deep pockets, and it's just giving everybody jobs. No, the cannabis industry over in America now, it's said to be, according to a recent report published by Leafly in partnership with another organization. What's the other organization? Leafly in partnership with Whitney Economics. And Whitney Economics is a global leader in cannabis and hemp business consulting and economic research. It shows that that America's cannabis industry has sold nearly $25 billion in product and created more than 100,000 new jobs in 2021. And according to the report, that there are currently over 400,000 full-time equivalent jobs supported by the legal cannabis industry in the US. This is spread between the 11 states which have a legal cannabis market for adults, and the other 27 medical cannabis states then as well. So in total there's 38 states over there which are seeing 428,059 people in full-time employment. Whoa. Just fucking wow. That's like 500,000 people right there. Like, that's like almost 500,000 people there that have got full-time jobs. Full-time jobs. And I don't know what that starts off at, like, but let's just say, like, fucking what would it start off at, like 20, 30 grand or something like that, 40 grand a year? That's a hell of a lot of money that's going out there stimulating the economy, because if, like, each and every one of those people is just, like, getting paid, like, at minimum, even if they were to be getting paid, like, fucking, I don't know, let's say 10 grand, like that's still like fucking over $4 million that's gone over there, and they're not getting paid 10 grand for the year's work. Like, they're definitely getting paid like upwards of 40 grand, 50 grand. Like, some of them are probably like a master grower. That's such a cool fucking job title as well, and a master or a grandmaster grower apparently, as Advanced Nutrients calls them. But they get upwards of 100 grand plus for growing cannabis over there. It's mad. So imagine, 100 grand plus, and you're talking 42 million there, like that. That's some, still, man, just crazy fucking money, like. Or not 42 million, Jesus, billions, jeez, billions. What am I saying? Million. I thought you'd paying them $100. So 420, would it be like fucking trillion even? Crazy thing. But just like, think about that, like, right? is all of these people getting paid. That's money that wasn't going to these people before. You know, that was money that wasn't going into the economy before. Like that was people that were being criminalized. All of these people would have been criminalized before. All of this money would have been going to criminal markets before. It's mad when you think about it. Like when you start seeing numbers coming out of the legal regulated industry over there in the US, like when they start talking about like $25 billion in products being sold, like that's $25 billion that's not gone to the organized crime gangs that are exploiting people out there, that are out there destroying like virgin forest land and stuff like that over there in California and stuff. You know, some of the cartels that are going in there, and they're running creeks dry. They're causing like fucking mass extinction of fish in some areas and stuff like that because of like just how fucking up the area is left over them and all of this kind of nasty stuff. Not to mention the other dangers, you know, for hikers out there just going across and coming across booby traps and shit like that as well. So it's mad to think that not too long ago, what would you go back about 20 years ago, all that would have been criminalised. All of that. Wow. And it's still going on here in Ireland. It really is. So some of the key findings coming out of the jobs report. It said that 2021 marked the first year that cannabis job creation hit 6 figures. After adding 32,700 jobs in 2019 and 77,000 jobs in 2020. So it doubled, it over doubled between 2019 and 2020. It almost doubled between 2020 and 2021. Now, keep in mind, 2020, 2021, we were in fucking the depths of a pandemic and shit like that. So there's a reason for a slowdown. If we didn't have that pandemic happening, would there have been a slowdown? Could we be seeing, you know, that 2021 figure being somewhere closer to like 150,000? Therefore, it would have actually doubled the year's previous number in terms of job creation. That's just new jobs created. That's mad. It says the United States now has 3 times as many cannabis workers as dentists. There's a stat for you now. I'll come up in some stoner trivia. True or false? United States has 3 times as many cannabis workers as dentists. Well, now you know, it's true. There are many more people employed in the cannabis industry than there are hairstylists, barbers, and cosmetologists combined. As of 2022, 3 out of 4 Americans now live in a state where medical cannabis is legal. Wow, I did not know that. So 3 out of 4 Americans, I suppose, yeah, so it's almost 3/4 of the states in the 52 states. And I said that 38 of them is some form of legalization. It says the total cannabis sales figures in the year's report, 25 billion represents only 25% of the total potential US cannabis market. Wow, wow, so that's only 25% of the total potential. So they're saying, like, you know, the potential there is about 100 billion. Wow. By 2025, America's total annual legal cannabis revenue is forecast to be closer to 45 billion, which is still less than half the total potential market. And last year, America's legal cannabis industry created more than 280 new jobs per day. Per day. That's mad to think, you know. They reckon that it'll peak around 2025. That's when they reckon like that they'll start peaking. That's when they'll see, you know, that they'll really have reached that job creation peak. And at that point, then, you know, it'll just plateau, I suppose, you know, or maybe it'll kind of up and down, maybe. Who knows? We go back there. So let's look at our poll. Let's end the poll. So the poll is ended now. Dale is Adam Dome. Welcome to the chat. Ballista is asking, is RSO a particular mix of strains? The RSO I had, it was I can't remember what the strain was, but it was one particular strain. But RSO is actually just Rick Simpson oil, or also can be known as full extract cannabis oil, or as people like to call it, FECO, which sounds a bit nasty. Kind of sounds like, you know, fecal. But FECO, full extract cannabis oil. So it was basically done using a high strength solvent, isopropyl alcohol to be specific, and the extract left over then was combined with once all of the isopropyl was got out of it, with some coconut oil, and there you go. You just dispense that into your capsules. Right, Ogan here, adding in, all anti-epileptic drugs are psychotropic and do not specifically target epilepsy. They deaden the brain. Well, nice one for that, Roy. Now I'm even more turned off them. Like that's the funny thing. Like, you know, even with my epilepsy, with my seizures, they don't know what's triggering it. Like, they don't know. Like, but they're like, yeah, here you go, try these and let's see how you get on. That's literally what the guy said, the specialist or consultant. Let's try these and let's see how you get on. It's like he's like, we'll try to get in for a sleep deprivation study. That was like 4 months ago. It's like, you know, where's my sleep deprivation study? Is it sleep deprivation causing this, or what's the story? Like, can you see some answers, you know, as to what's going on, and give me a bit more specific medication, you know, that's actually targeting my issue, rather than fucking this kind of let's turn off the light and throw a fucking dart at the dartboard and let's hope we hit the bullseye. Because that's what it feels like they're doing at the moment with my health. Interesting answers, guys. So 10% of you have said that you do not consume cannabis before or during exercise, which is interesting. So 90% of you then remaining have answered the other two. So 15% in the I don't exercise category. So again, as I said, that could have included just something as simple as walking your dog, but maybe you don't have dogs either, which is all right too. Maybe just going shopping is the all exercise you get, and if that's you, then that's you. But 73% of you have answered yes. So there you go. Cannabis and exercise, like the lazy stoner myth. Not here. 65 votes as well, guys. Thanks very much. 65 votes. 34 likes though. What's going on, guys? 34 likes. Joking. Much love to you all. Nice one as well. It's cool to see 65 people answering as part of the poll. So 73% of you who like to consume cannabis there. So you're not lazy stoners at all by any stretch of the imagination. And the final headline then I have for you today, guys, it is to do with that, basically. It was an article which came to my attention by it was over on joe.co.uk. So I'll pop it up on screen there. It has a cool little thing at the top. So it says, I get hyped to exercise, how cannabis became the gateway drug to fitness. And it's talking here then about meet the stoners going from couch potatoes to 5K. But like, again, it's like going from couch potatoes to 5K. Were they ever even couch potatoes to begin with? But maybe some of them were. So let's picture this: you just smoked a joint. It wasn't too big or too small. It was just perfect joint for you. Goldilocks style. Do you know, not too hot, not too cold, just right. Nice. You're starting to feel the trademark symptoms of a gradual high. Try it with me now. Your shoulders relax, breathing slows, and gets deeper, slower. You become aware of the weight in your chest, lifting gently up and down. Muscles goes from tensed to fluid, feeling just a little more supple than they usually do. The fog clears in your brain, and for a second everything is still. Now go do 50 push-ups, bicep curls and burpees. Give me 10 more. Now squats, maybe throwing 5K. Run in while you're at it. Or come to think of it, how about an ultra marathon? And when I read that part, like, I can't help but think of the fucking the Diaz brothers out there. Like, it's two boys, two well into their cannabis, and the two of them regular fucking ultra marathon runners, or at least triathlon runners anyway, and all of that stuff, like the Diaz brothers. And they're not alone in it, you know. Again, you know, you've got who else is out there? Your man Phelps, the swimmer dude. Plenty of fucking elite athletes out there who enjoy a bit of cannabis. They want to say, sounds strange, right? Sounds like the last thing you could possibly want to do while wrapped in your cannabis cocoon. Sounds like the opposite of a fluffy blanket, Seth Rogen movies and tortilla chips, but people really do it, and I can guarantee you it's a lot more, or it's more common than you think. But again, to this audience, to the people listening to this right now, I would imagine, you know, 73% of you, you're all very well aware as to how common this is. But again, I just wanted to bring this up. If you want to go over and read this article in its entirety, by all means, go over and give it a read. I'm just going to go through the first part of it. We'll talk about Patrick here and Kate, and you can finish it off if you want it. It says here, in a recent survey of 600 cannabis smokers by the science journal Nature, 4 out of 5 respondents admitted to lighting up just before exercising, which again, as I said there earlier, it was interesting that we got 73%. Because it's in line with what they found here. Almost in line, you know what I mean? We're out just by a small margin, 7% there. But 4 out of 5 almost, I could say, out there, because it's closer to 4 out of 5 than it is to 3 out of 5. So there you go. But yes, 4 out of 5 respondents admitted to lighting up just before exercising. It says, bring your own bud and Cannabis exercise classes have started sprouting up in the UK and US, and there's a budding trend in influencers who pair weed with their workouts, not to mention multiple Reddit threads and YouTube videos of people smoking up and then attempting to do yoga with Adrienne. How wholesome. So then it goes on down here to talk about Patrick, who's 33, and it says it has a little star here, so obviously Patrick's not this guy's real name. Come on, like, not only go exercise while I don't only just exercise while consuming cannabis. I teach classes. But anyway, it goes on here. It says, with many high exercisers, it begins by accident. This is what happened to Patrick, who's 33, from Ireland, who had committed to a post-Christmas fitness routine but slipped and got stoned one evening after work. I thought, well, I've got nothing to do, and so I was like, might as well work out. I was walking around the kitchen feeling quite loose. It felt nice. So I thought, all right, this is actually the right circumstance to give this a go. It felt nice, so he kept it up. Now, Patrick has never exercised so much in his life. Saying here, I flirted with exercise before he laughs, but never worked out so much as since I've started combining it with cannabis. Now Patrick smokes 2 grams of cannabis a week and works out between 3 to 6 times using a mix of the floor press, bicep curls and dips each day with a target of 600 reps. Well, there you go, man. That's a nice old achievement. That's something I'd be proud of myself now, in fairness. I had a fucking shitty seizure there, actually, the start of the month, fucking status epilepticus thing, fucking 30 minutes long it was, and fecked up all the tendon up here on my shoulder while bouncing around the place on the floor and shit, like, so that's nasty. I can't even do bodyweight push-ups now at the moment. It's shit. Fucking 2 to 3 month recovery with it, but again, cannabis makes it all the better. It really fucking does. I'm not supposed to be swimming. Don't tell nobody. But honestly, I was able to get nice and blazed there and go down and do a little bit of swimming yesterday and just kind of get it loosened out and warm it up and exercise it a little bit. It was nice. But anyway, we'll drive on. Please don't report me for swimming. I'm not supposed to be. That's what the doctor said to me. No more driving, Martin. No more swimming. I was like, oh no. So I was like, what else can't I do? I can't smoke cannabis, apparently. Kate 23, then the next person, and it doesn't have a little star here for Kate, so go Kate, using your real name, girl. Kate 23 is a marketing student living in Leicester and also stumbled into her high exercise routine by accident. It's easy to see how someone who is high for the majority of the day might end up stoned for a few meetings or other sober world events. And this is exactly what happened to Kate. And here's a little stoned couch potato. Yes, very funny. It says here, and this is Kate commenting, I have a PT sessions on Zoom and I was just high by accident once, she recalls. It seemed like it would end up as a wasted session for Kate, but the opposite was true. I literally felt like I could knock out an elephant, she said. Go Kate. So Kate initiated a system of smoking before sessions, unknown to the PT or others on the other side of the Zoom, apart from one time where he noticed smoke in the background of her living room, and Kate said she was burning some incense. Nice. Good cover, Kate. Good cover. And we'll finish up then with this little paragraph here from the doctor. The reason some people seem to like pairing weed with exercise, like their wine and cheese, can be explained by a simple Venn diagram. Imagine weed and exercise are 2 circles, and a nice fuzzy feeling created by the 2 is in the middle section. There's something about the endocannabinoid system that is activated by exercise, says Dr. Greg Gardai, a neuroscientist and a medical cannabis expert. Go on, Greg. That's the biological system that processes cannabis and helps to control homeostasis. Which cannabis is, very important. And a lot of, again, if you don't know what homeostasis is, just think of it of balance within the body, keeping temperature in check and pH and everything just flowing. Like, it's fucking important stuff. And cannabis is at the, it's at the central point of all of that stuff. But cannabis and exercise share similar neurological mechanisms, and they're intimately related. So if you believe Dr. Gardai, the runner's high is akin to being actually high. His view is that the two complement each other instead of working against each other. This is obvious dependent on each person's reaction to cannabis, as an anxious smoker is unlikely to feel the sheer bliss of a 10k run every time they smoke up. And says practically it can also help you enjoy it more. It overrides the internal signal of, oh, my knees are hurting, I don't have my breathing right. Dr. Gardai says it can help you get to that state of comfort. And it's saying here as well, Patrick and Kate both consume the equivalent of 10 to 20 spliffs per week before engaging in high exercise. But it's not just regular weed lovers who are combining cannabis and exercise. And it goes on here talking about 34-year-old Chris Barnacle, who was raised just outside of Boston in the United States, and first came the running and then came the smoking. And there's an old picture of Chris. And if you want to read about Chris, guys, you're going to have to go over there and look up this article on joe.co.uk. I'll get to the headline there again for you. I get high to exercise, how cannabis became the gateway drug to fitness. So there you go. Like, cannabis, it's not that fucking bad. Like, in fairness, like all the doom and gloom that you're seeing out there about it, and in fairness, like you read stories about this, like the story about Patrick, a guy who never really exercised before, accidentally he accidentally discovered it there one evening. He was a bit bored around the gaff and he was like, yeah, fucking, I'm going to do some exercises. And now he exercises up to 3 to 6 times a week. It reaches like 600 reps a day. Like, fucking go Patrick, man. Not his real name. Do you know, but that's good shit, man. That's the stuff you want to be reading. Do you need more of that out there in the media? Because there's too much of this doom and gloom about cannabis. Like, what would you say, like, is the number? Would you say, like, 10% of people would have negative experiences with cannabis, in terms of abuse and addiction and stuff like that? Would you say 10, or is that number a bit high? hey. I deserve a smoke for that one, don't I? Yes. Ashlyn Hudson saying here, Lamictal is the best of them. They make you take the others first, though. Good luck, Martin. Nice one, Ashlyn. Robert's asking there, what am I studying? I was studying herbal science. I've graduated since. I was then doing what was I then doing? Bioanalytical chemistry. But I ended up actually just dropping out of that one because, to be very honest, shit just got intense just in life in general. So a lot of life just got in the way, I suppose, just putting it that. I don't really want to go into too much of it because there's a lot of it is not my stuff to be sharing. So I won't talk about those other things. But yes, Prohibition Endurance just fucking straw that's breaking the camel's back at this stage. Hopefully someday I do have aspirations to go back to get a PhD. I would really love to go back and do some clinical studies to get into the clinical realm. I'm looking at how cannabis works, maybe. But again, let's see what happens. Anyway, one battle at a time. Scatna saying here, Martin, you should voice over mindfulness videos that with your intonation. No, we can work on something. We'll get it out there for the Patreons and for any other loyal listeners who want it. Martin's Mindfulness Minute. Guru as well saying, yo, Scatty man, hope you're well. Nice. Who else is out there? I'm just looking at the live chat there. A lot of the messages have disappeared here from on the screen. Steve here saying weightlifting and weed go together well. Yeah, I definitely think weightlifting and weed go together quite well as well. Definitely because of like the effects there of cannabis on the muscles. You know, you can just lift a little bit longer, I suppose, lift a little bit heavier because your tolerance, your endurance there, your tolerance to pain just goes up that little bit. It gets a bit higher. Hey, yes, twice there now, like ah. But yeah, weightlifting and weed is definitely, you know, it makes sense anyway, at least to me. That it would go well together. Jimmy Touchdown, what's happening over there, Jimmy? Hopefully all is well over there in the US of A. Welcome to the Hot Box. Or welcome back to the Hot Box. It's been a bit there now, actually, Jimmy, since I've seen you in the Hot Box. I hope you're doing good. Others out there as well. Guru Ganji Goat says, I want to be a cannabis reviewer. That would be nice. That would be a decent old job. There's definitely jobs out there for cannabis reviewers. You got to be good with your words, though, you know, because they like the write-ups. I think that's what the type of reviewers they want. They want a nice write-up back afterwards, you know. It's like a sea breeze on the West Cork, you know, in the Bantry of Bays. You know, it's like I'm terrible, man. I ain't no poet. Roy Duggan as well adding in here. All American footballers are CBD users to prevent head injuries, and not just CBD. I'd say a lot of them as well. You know, those who can risk it. You know, I'd say a lot of them would sneak in the old bit of THC there as well in between testing periods, maybe. I do think it's still something that the American Football Association test for. I'm not too sure who's testing them. Is it WADA? Did they get tested by WADA or something? No, that's the world one. But anyway, I'm pretty sure they still do tests for THC. But yeah, there is a lot of them using CBD over there as well. But the NFL, they did actually. Yeah, Rashers is saying that here as well, and the NFL have invested, I don't know, a couple of million there, not too long ago as well, into TBI, traumatic brain injuries, and cannabis. And I think as well, not just that, I think there's also looking at cannabis and pain, chronic pain, as well, because I do believe that a lot of American footballers take like opiates and shit like that as painkillers, you know, because of how much they work out and how fucking strenuous their training can be on their body. So that is another issue there as well. And that's a big one as well for bodybuilders. I don't know if any of you have seen that documentary called Bigger, Stronger, and Harder. I think it's called Bigger, Stronger, Harder. I can't remember the name of the guys. They're brothers. Can't remember the name of them. Somebody in the comments might enlighten me there in a couple of seconds. But the guys, they made another one as well, Prescription Pill Me or something like that. I think again, if you find Bigger, Harder, Stronger, you'll find their other documentary as well. But Bigger, Harder, Stronger was following their journey with and others as well. Their journey with performance enhancing drugs within the weightlifting scene, the bodybuilding scene, I suppose, really more than the weightlifting scene. But it was really interesting, and as well to hear that within that scene there was a lot more deaths actually associated with the painkillers that these guys were taking, rather than with the performance enhancing drugs. The performance enhancing drugs allowed them to maybe push themselves beyond their limits and therefore give them more pain and therefore require more opiates. So maybe they're you know, that was an effect there. But still, nonetheless, the opiates, you know, respiratory failure was quite common cause of death there for weightlifters. And again, you know, you look at cannabis, you know, you get these guys, you know, some performance enhancing drugs and just a big fucking load of cannabis. How many of them would still be alive today if that was the case? I don't know. Bigger, stronger, harder, sponsored by Viagra. Go on, Guru. Good to hear you're doing well, Jimmy. Nice one. Good to hear. Others there in the comments, Scatness says, "Oh, just from the dentist and 5 minutes behind. Gob still numb." Oh, that's so annoying actually when you come back from the dentist and you got like a numb face, especially like if it's really numb. I was it about 4 or 5 years ago there now. I got a what was it called, like a crowner or whatever it's called, where like they went really deep anyway into the thing, like, and fucking man, where like the whole side of my face was numb. And then when the feeling came back, it was the most weirdest sensation ever, because like it was like my whole face was like pins and needles and itchy, but I couldn't scratch it because I couldn't feel the scratch. So like as much as I wanted to scratch it, it was driving me crazy for like 3 4 hours. Oh man. Roy asking, "Are you growing, Martin?" The show is growing, and we're almost at 2,000 followers now, are we? Sorry, I'll get back to that one, but no, I'm not growing, unfortunately. I had a recent call from the cops there, which kind of fucking was a kick in the teeth not too long ago. So I had to stop everything, unfortunately. So I'm not growing anymore. But I do have a buddy who still is doing a little bit of growing for me, which is quite kind of him. And we split the old harvest there between us, which is it's convenient. Let's see, how many do we have? 1.98 thousand subscribers. Yeah, so 1.9, so 1,980 subscribers. Go ye, all you legends out there. We're just rolling up on 4 minutes as well there, guys, to the 4:20. Allegedly. Yeah. Again, I suppose I was saying on here for quite some time that I wasn't growing and shit like that. But to be very honest, look, I was growing the whole time I was doing this show. I was growing myself. I know I was saying somebody else was growing for me, but they weren't. I was growing myself, and only stopped there, like, fucking 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever that was there. That night I had to go in and have myself in because it was just getting a bit too close for comfort. So we just called it a day, and we just said, we would quit while we're ahead on that regard. But at the same time now, since my fucking seizures have gotten a bit more intense, I'm kind of thinking a bit differently again. I think there's a bit more of a medical necessity there now for me to continue to be growing. But look, that's a conversation to be had between me and people who I might be growing with. So we'll see. Teresa here saying, "Stop being honest." No, well, I've don't have anything to hide anymore. Like, I kind of did for a while. Like, because like while I was on here, I was kind of painting a target on my back, so I just didn't really want to be Trump. As much as I was giving them a reason to come fucking hunt me down, I didn't really want to be fucking throwing that in their face either at the same time, because I was enjoying my harvest. And yeah, right, like, man, I'm 100% there. It's your right, and I'm there. Like, this is a seed. And again, I'm not an incredibly religious person, but if you even go look at the biblical texts, it says it right there that God gave us these seeds to be grown for our use. The plants that come from them. And to be harvesting the fruit that comes from those plants, then are those trees or whatever they're saying. As I said, I'm not a religious guy, but I know it's in the Bible that God says that He wants us to grow, and we should grow them all. Anything that we want for our own use, if it's going to benefit us, of course. Don't be out there growing any fucking poisonous ones like fucking foxglove. Which again, you look at foxglove, Digitalis purpurea. If you don't know what it is, Digitalis purpurea, it's the Latin name of foxglove. It's a lovely ornamentative type of plant, but again, you could harvest parts of that plant and you could brew it as a tea, and you could kill a whole heap of people because it's got cardiac glycosides. Is that the word? Cardioglycosides. Anyway, it's got compounds within it that basically mess up your heart. They will mess up your heart. It'll cause your heart to stop if you get enough of them in there. Now, again, these compounds are actually used, funnily enough, in heart medication, because in the right dosage, they are a medicine, because, the pathway in which they work. But literally, if you brew them in a tea, you could kill people. And guess what? It's not illegal to grow them. You could probably take a walk in your local neighborhood if you've got somebody in your neighborhood and if they've got ornamentative plants, if they're a person who plants a lot of colorful plants, I could nearly guarantee that you probably find foxglove in their garden, because it's a very like common plant. It grows like aggressively as well, and it puts out a lovely flower. It does now, in fairness, it's a lovely flower to see it. But it'll fucking kill you if you drink it. But meanwhile, cannabis, it literally it could prevent your seizures if you use it in the right way, and that's illegal. Foxglove, it could kill you, and that's not illegal. Like, what is this? Like, doesn't make sense. It's 420, guys. It's 420. That makes sense to me. So, oh, that's a 30 bang. Sorry, guys. 420, guys, blazing on up. Where is a 420? Cape Verde? Oh, Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Montevideo, Falkland Islands, French Guiana. Ah, no, that's the next place. It's going to be 420. Yeah, it's 421 now. Never mind. Let's blaze. Patty J saying here, no mention of edibles in the Bible, is there? I'll have to get on to my buddy. My buddy knows more about the Bible than me. Not that I know of. There was one time, alright, Jesus dealt with a big crowd and they had the munchies, like, so maybe there was a bit of weed smoked then. Apparently he felt the whole crowd, like, with a couple of loaves of bread and fishes and stuff like that. Like, so I'd say there was a bit of the old smoky there, and a couple of people forgot that that the bread was already getting past them, you know, and that's how the food lasted so long. Jokes. Right, Ogan here saying the Home Office can't provide the scientific evidence for cannabis being a Class B drug, evidenced by FOI request. That's right, that's the efforts there by the guys with Cedar Future and We the Undersigned. They've been putting requests in these freedom of information, requests for the evidence to back it up, and to date it's not been provided. But unfortunately, Trev Coleman failed in arguing recently that in court, or bringing that forward as evidence in court. The judge apparently said that it was inadmissible in court. So apparently the next port to call for them is going to be suing the cops. So we'll see how that goes. Best of luck to Trev and company. But yeah, you're right, Ryan, that one. Home Office can't provide this scientific evidence for it because, wait, there is none. There is none. No cannabis prosecutions are legal, yeah, but I don't think they are either. I definitely think it's all a violation of human rights, and fucking that's illegal. They can't be violating your rights, especially when they ain't got the evidence to back up why they're doing it. Teresa says they grow my garden. There you go. Teresa O'Connell, guys, has got deadly plants out there in her garden. Be wide if you're drinking tea over a hergaffin if she doesn't really like you that much. I'm joking. I'm sure Teresa wouldn't kill anybody except, maybe a few people within her government, but, that's a different story. Again, I'm joking. I'm not condoning the death of anybody in her government. At least not yet. And we'll have a peaceful revolution. We'll overthrow them peacefully. Pause for 420 says, was the fish and bread infused? The time Republican Dave here saying the time Elijah went to heaven without dying is clearly about edibles, Paddy J. Yeah, I'd say there's a few of those stories, alright, that you could probably relate to edibles within the Bible, without ever even having to mention edibles, and just being kind of like, yeah, that guy was probably on edibles and he's having a bit of a freak out. Like, the day, yeah, Jesus walking on water. Like the boys are all probably stoned and they were probably like, just monged out of it like after a proper heavy indica, loads of dabs. Jesus, boys walking on water, boy. And the boys are all like tie-dyed, looking through the slits. Jesus went floating. uh, yeah, check out the interview with Danny Nemu, guys. You probably all heard it already. But he talks about drugs in the Bible, and he's got really good videos out on YouTube and other places as well. Danny Nemu, Danny, Dannynemu, Reverend Danny Nemu. He's a reverend of the Church of, is it even a church? I don't know. The Santo Daime, which is basically a DMT religion. Really cool. Check him out if you haven't already. I'm going to sign up. I'm going to subscribe. I think I'm in. When's the next meeting, guys? I need to say some prayers. Man falls Martin's bollocks after that bong out. Martin was definitely feeling the effects alright even after the first one there. It's been a long day, and yeah, getting nice and baked there now. We're going to head down to the sauna in the next half hour to hour, hopefully all going well. Fingers crossed I get permission from the boss. I've been enjoying the shit out of that steam room and sauna. I'll do a run as well before going there as well, so I get a bit of cardio. Trees as well, right on hun. They grow all over the sides of the roads down here in Roscommon. They literally grow everywhere. There's a gaff, literally a field up the road from me where I bring my dogs, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere. You got purple ones, you got white ones, and nice pink ones as well. But yeah, they're everywhere up there. Roy Duggan saying here, have you checked out the Future Cannabis Project on YouTube? Yeah, I'm subscribed to the Future Cannabis Project. I see they go live quite often as well. I haven't watched a whole lot of their content, to be very honest. I've be just swamped myself. But I am subscribed to the Future Cannabis Project, Roy. So yeah, nice one. Roy also saying that he made his own DMT. Nice one. We got something in common there, Roy. Nice one. Good man, Roy. I also made some changa. I gifted it to Podge. Haven't heard from Podge in a while. Hopefully you're alright. Shout out to Podge. You out there, Podge? Get back to me on Telegram, Podge. Let me know you're still alive. But yeah, we got that in common anyway there, right? I made my own as well. Didn't know anybody else who could get it for me, and it was easy just to buy in the Mimosa hostilis, the root bark, and yeah, simple acid to base extraction. Acid to base, yeah, or base acid. Yeah, acid to base, I think it was. And crystallize it in the white spirits. And yes, Bob's your uncle's finds your aunt. Boom. Going to try a different extraction technique in future, but yeah, it's not too hard, to be honest. Like, but again, look, I'm into that kind of sciencey stuff. It's really cool. What was your extraction technique, if you don't mind me asking, Roy? Man Falls asking, Martin, I'm sure you've seen it, but I must ask anyway. Have you seen the Netflix UFO doc? I watched one episode actually there the other night with Alexis. I must go back and watch some more of it. So yeah, I haven't seen all of it yet. And yes, we have other things in common as well, Roy. I've grown my own shrooms and mushrooms. We grew the psychedelic variety, and we also grew the gourmet variety. Got some, had some shiitakes, oysters. I got the lion's mane. I had that going there for a while. The lion's mane was actually quite easy to grow. It was cool. It was a job. I had access to the autoclave inside in CIT for a while. So I was going into CIT with these fucking big bags of what was I using? I was using wood pellets. So it was like rehydrated wood pellets with soya hulls. And when the gaff used to be smelling like a fucking, I don't know, used to be smelling like a brewer's place, like the soya hulls used to make pure yeasty kind of smell. It was funny. But yeah, I used to be using the autoclave out in CIT or MTU now. And you're saying here acid, base, vinegar, salt. Nice. So vinegar, acid, base, vinegar, salt. Sweet. Yep. Happy days. Must try that one maybe. You know, it's probably better than the white spirits. The white spirits is a pain in the hole because like you really have to keep the container sealed when it's in the freezer. Otherwise, everything in the freezer is going to have a taste of white spirits off it for years to come, probably. From experience, guys. Yes. Don't put white spirits into your freezer uncovered. Teresa O'Connell says, watch it all in Joe Rogan interview with Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar was an interesting character, all right. His story is fucking crazy. Like being brought into this place, been working on like this big fucking thing, you know, and it's just like of material that's not of this planet and made in ways in which we can't do. You know, it's as if it was made in like zero gravity and all of this stuff. Mad shit. Manfall says that doc is insane, Martin. I think that doc is literally the government leaking real UFO documents through a faction called To the Stars, Academy of Science and Academy of Arts and Science. Interesting. I look forward to finishing that one off then. So, I'm definitely not going to skip the sauna though. And Alexis has school tomorrow, so we probably won't get an episode in this evening. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Could be the weekend. Right. Nice. Sat to draw the curtains there. It's getting dark outside, so it's easy to see inside as the light is bright now. Any passers by just looking up and it's like a guy hooting on a bong up here. Hiding in shame I am. Right, we get another bowl in. I gotta give a shout out to Irish Hemp Harvest as well. Oh, look at that. It's a see-through. It's a see-through shovel. That's class. This is like a little shovel. So you can't actually see this right now because it's see-through. But trust me, it's a little plastic shovel, and I'm able to shovel up my ganja. Yes. My grinder's sieve seems to be a bit clogged at the moment, so there seems to be a nice bit of keef kind of gathering up around the top of the sieve that I can't really get with a pinch of the fingers. So this little scooper comes along then and it's like, ooh, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. I got a nice bowl full of like ganja and keef. So that one is gonna pack a punch. Roy Duggan saying earlier there that we consent to our prosecutions rather than challenging the law. Yeah, well, I definitely would think that there's a lot of that going on, all right, that we kind of consent and by going along with what they're doing. Like, I'm just going to protest as long as I can. As long as I can. Like, that's my view anyway. Like John O'Regan, if they want to put me to prison, like, my intention is probably going to be protest while I'm in prison. I'll do my best to like to farm like a hunger strike or whatever, but at the same time, look, I fucking don't want to die. Like, do you know what I mean? If I start going on a hunger strike, but look, them sending me to prison where I'm not going to have access to my cannabis, which at the moment I'm using to try to manage my seizures, which hopefully I'll be successful with doing. That's going to be bad news for them. If all of a sudden I go to prison and within like a day or two inside in there, I'm without like my cannabis and I start having seizures, like, that's trouble for the prison service, surely, and the Irish government taking my medicine away from me, taking me away from my medicine, punishing me for my medicine. Let's see. Oh man. Man Fall says, I've watched the doc a couple of times. One thing that just hit me on the last episode I watched was they said from the autopsies, all the bodies contained human DNA. But it's just like a percentage human DNA, yeah? It's like I probably got the other DNA that's just like not human. How many of you out there subscribe to that kind of view that like humans are a byproduct of extraterrestrial interference in the gene pool? Is it like not that an alien came down and fucked a monkey, but literally there was like some sort of like injection of like DNA of extraterrestrial origins into monkeys, and we see that as human DNA, but now it's like no, actually it's alien DNA. Crazy shit happens. Completely off topic to cannabis though. But stoner talk. Manfall says, I put zero stock in the ancient alien theory before I heard that, but now I have no fucking clue. That's it. We talk about ancient aliens, but like, what is old? Like, what is old? Really? Like, is there a start of fucking time? So what's old? Like, is there some fucking almighty being out there that's just been around for fucking a time that's just completely inconceivable to us? I don't know. If there is, I would like to know. Yeah, an alien funking a monkey definitely sounds funnier, alright, like, definitely does. Yeah. And then the monkeys had to take mushrooms afterwards to deal with the trauma of being raped by a space alien, and that's how the brain then, enlarged. And that was kind of like an unseen effect. The aliens didn't expect that one. So that's why the aliens left us alone and we became even more intelligent than they expected. I'd imagine there's a good few of you out there are probably subscribers to the Stoned Ape theory then. Terence McKenna's Stoned Ape theory? That the monkeys at the time coming out of the trees, going into the grassland, finding the mushrooms, picking them, enjoying the experience, kind of, and consciousness and speech, language, developing then from that. That's the theory, the Stoned Ape theory. Scatness says reality is a dream anyway. Yep, that's true. Everything you experience is experienced like inside. We're a bag of chemicals, everything, like, your vision, it's like fucking some sort of photon hitting a receptor at the back of your eyelid. That receptor then sends a signal to your brain, which then translates to an image. And that's how you see the world around you. You touch things, but do you touch things? There's always this infinite space between you and the other things you touch, And it's like, man, when you start talking about physics, and I love it. I really do love it because it just blows my mind when you start thinking about things on those kind of levels. But it's just mad. What are we like, Man Falls, I have a folder of real leaked UFO pictures right here on my PC. Irish ones, yeah? I wonder what's the Irish Air Force's experiences with UFOs, or what are they called them now? Unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. UAPs. They're not UFOs anymore. They're UAPs. Man, Falls, come on, man! You're going to fucking blow my cover, dude. Oh, gonna blaze this one up there anyway. Might have to go, and Daddy Judy's calling in a second now. Oh, Ballista's the ape that got molested by the aliens. Hope you're doing okay, Ballista. Are you saying you're the alien or the ape that ate the mushrooms? Are you both? Yeah, that's an interesting concept as well, Guru Ganji Goat, saying we are infinite. I'd be kind of a like I'm not religious, but I'm definitely kind of like this idea of spiritual, but not spiritual even. Believe in energy, and that like there's an the infinite of the infinity of energy, that like it never really ceases to exist. It just changes from one form to another. So take that what you mean. There's other people out there who everything. What's the other one? Is it the chaos theory that everything is like getting colder? That we're fucking the whole universe is cooling down and all this shit. Like there's lots of interesting theories out there. But for me, I believe in the theory that or the idea that like we are energy, we're an energetic being, and our energy never dies. It ceases to exist. It just changes from one form to another. That's enough for me. Yum. Teresa says, I spoke to a lad in Castlereagh who seen one, and another person in the town seen it the same night. Was a young lad at the time. There was always stories of the mothership being in Roscommon. Well, if there was ever a place a mothership's going to show up, surely it's going to be Roscommon. Like, come on. Yeah, I can remember there, like years ago, we'd be looking up at the sky and shit, and we'd be like, it's a fucking UFO, and like looking at satellites and shit like that, like blinking light going across the sky. It's like satellites and shit like. And so yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a UFO. Or a UAP. Scatanist, indeed, Guru. Everything is connected, and the energy in the atoms making up our body existed since the Big Bang. Exactly. You are star stuff, guys. Literally, you know, the carbon, the atoms within your body, these were all born out of a star. They would not have existed if they had not been born out of a star. Again, if the theory around the origin of fucking all this shit is right, then yes, you are star stuff, and it's fucking mad to think of. At some point in time, all of this came out of a star. Yeah, I see Teresa agreeing with me as well on the energy, saying that's what she's kind of a subscriber to as well. Nice. Good to see. Nice, like-minded people out there. All cool if you're on different vibes as well. That's all good. I used kind of think, I was always worried that it was like turning off the TV, that it would just go blank. But then after DMT, it was just kind of like, nah, there's definitely more to this kind of energy stuff. Like, and yeah. Wasn't there some accidental discovery there as well not too long ago? Excuse me. Delayed reaction there. We'll get a drink and we'll have a finish what I was saying then. So there was an accidental discovery there not too long ago where there was a person, I don't know, was it a man or a woman? They were hooked up to like that brain scanning thing they were doing. I believe they were actually studying the activity of seizures in this individual. But while the person was actually hooked up to the machine and like all of the stuff on the head and the brain and the scans were going on, the person had a heart attack and died. So they left the scanners on and they scanned the person's brain for some time after they had passed. And what they found is like that the brain remained active even like for a good while after like the blood had stopped going to it and stuff like that. So it was very interesting. Again, I didn't read it in depth. I was just reading an article about it and I wanted to go and look at the study a bit more. But it was very interesting to see that, like, you know, that that's just activity there in the brain, and there could be some fucking truth there to this kind of that DMT is the kind of the ejector molecule for the energy, the soul, whatever you call it, out of the body and it back into the ether, back into the singularity, to the source. Tom Tyler says, I remember smoking a joint once and feeling like I was in a simulation and I was about to wake up. Scared me a bit. Nice. Dave Canna says, I've seen a UFO back in 2001. Nice. And Mark Downey is welcoming our new overlords. And Paddy J saying, I see Elon Musk sent the Ukrainians a Starlink. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did. And he's got them all hooked up to the internet and stuff like that as well, apparently. He's getting the old satellites up there above him, looking after them. So go on, Elon. Tinkle Tink as well saying, the law of conservation of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. That was the one. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. That's the one. Dave Cavana, it was a scary 15 minutes. It used the whole sky back and forth, sharp turn. Oh, right, we're talking about aliens here and UFOs. Oh, yeah, that was the UFO you seen back then. Still don't know what I saw. Yeah, mad stuff, man. Mad stuff. Dale Gumsan done. I've met some really interesting beings on DMT. Seriously beautiful experience. Mad crack. I think I've done it like 4 or 5 times, and I've only truly had an interaction once. Truly had a breakthrough, I suppose you would say, that one time. And Casa de Strug has thrown in here that the Nobel Prize winner in 2012 showed the activity of the dead salmon proves the susceptibility of brain scanners to false signals, not that the dead fish has energy. Interesting. The 2012 study. All right, I'll have to have a look at that one. Not that the dead fish has energy. And they got a Nobel Prize for that. Cool. Scatness is all thrown in here. DMT is obviously related to consciousness, but I sometimes wonder, what if dark matter is consciousness? Yep, I don't know what dark matter is, so I can't help you there. I too wonder what dark matter is. I'm in the dark on it. Right, I'm gonna start loving you and leaving you guys, because otherwise we'll be here until the next 420 rolls around, which is 30 minutes away. And instead I want to go and get a few bits and pieces done just around here and get down to the fucking sauna and steam room and get a bit more baked. That's going to be good fun. Be meeting some interesting individuals down there as well. Some different locals. Used to always go to the Mayfield one, so now it's a new one, so some new faces down there. So having some good interesting conversations there the last few days. Got chatting there about Vera actually the other night. Somebody else brought her up, interestingly enough, so that was cool. It's always good when you can get somebody else to bring up the topic you want to talk about, which was convenient. Basically a scanner will pick up signals from anything. Okay, yeah, interesting. But like, I suppose, look, I don't know what the crack is there with that one. I'll have to look into that one. So like you're saying that there's this possibility that the signals picked up within the individual who had died while the scanners were on could have been false signals. Not really indicating that there was a signal there or an energy there. Yeah. I could see that one. Yeah, I'll have to look into that one as well. Scatness, the dark matter component of the universe whose presence is discerned from its gravitational attraction rather than its luminosity. Dark matter makes up 30.1% of the matter energy composition. of the universe. The rest is dark energy, 69.4%, and ordinary visible matter, 0.5%. There you go. Nice one, Rashers. Nice one. Yeah, we'll start signing off there as well. Just looking through the last few comments coming in there, because there's been some interesting kind of topics there. As I said, that this kind of bit of stoner talk there, aliens, conspiracies and shit like that. Yeah, it can be fun. I like to entertain it, like, um, because it can be fun, like, talking about death and afterlife and stuff like that. Look, anybody out there who claims to have the answer, they're fucking lunatic, like, you know. It's like I'm telling you, I'm think this is what I think might happen, but like, you know, do I believe it'll happen? It's like, I don't know. It's like, you know, I'm like, what do you mean? Do I believe it will happen? I hope it happens. I think it might happen. You know, but do I believe? It's like, I don't fucking believe. Do I believe in the tooth fairy? I was like, what is belief? Like, you know, it's just like, I think, yeah, it's like, yeah, you have proof or you don't, like. And if you don't have proof, then it's like, you can either hope that something is true or not, then, is it? You know, or can you believe? You gotta have faith. I don't know. I never really understood that whole kind of concept, like. Nice one, Guru. Nice one. Saying good man, and thanks for everything you do. Nice one, Guru. Legend. Scatting is saying just FYI also DMT, dark matter. Yes, I see what you did there. DMT and dark matter, and you kind of made capital M and T's. Ooh. Make like a 5-minute video just about that there, like on YouTube, and you'll have like 1 million people like fucking following you. You're just like, yeah, look at it, it's such a fucking strong argument, like, you know, you just have to have a good voice for it then as well. It's like, it's funny, man, some of these YouTube videos that are out there, and it's like some of the explanations and how they tie numbers together, and it's like, look, the number's there and the number's there, and it's just like, well, look, yes, they each their own. Like, how many people out there is subscribe to, is it the astrology, cosmology? I don't know what it is. It's like, you know, this 11:11 thing and 2:22, 20, the numbers thing, you know? It's like when you keep looking at the clock and it keeps having this number, that number must mean something to me. Whereas in reality, you know, so many times did you actually look at the clock and that number wasn't there, and you just didn't acknowledge the fact that you've looked at the clock 100 times today looking for that number. And once you see it, it's like, oh, look at that, it's there, it's a sign. I don't know. The Republic of Dave. The signal could be from a scanner reading a difference in charge between parts of the brain, like an infrared camera. A cast of the Stragas, not my area expertise, though. Yeah, as me as well. It's as I said, I only kind of came across that one, and I just thought it was interesting that there was activity there in the brain afterwards, and then that theory is kind of out there that, like, oh yeah, the DMT gets released, and there's this big fucking kind of psychedelic experience goes on, your whole life flashes before your eyes, and da da da, you know, all of that stuff. It's possible. Man Falls saying, I often feel alienated. No pun intended when I talk to people about aliens, man. Believing in aliens will fuck you up, lads. I've always believed in aliens. I've never really shied away from that. Like, if anybody ever asked me, do you believe in aliens? Yes, I believe in aliens. Do I believe in life in planets outside of Earth? Yes. Do I believe in life on planets within our solar system? No. In other solar systems, yes. In other galaxies, yes. You know, in other freaking, you know, whatever kind of words that are used for further field places, yes. But in ours, no. The shit like in around Earth, like the stuff that's going on here at the moment, it's quite very interesting. Is it aliens? I don't know. Do I believe it's aliens? Believe. Here's that word again. I don't know. The evidence is it's a weird one. I definitely think that there's something going on, like there's cover ups going on. Again, you know, that Lazar dude, some of the stuff that's there, but it's like, why haven't we seen them properly? Why haven't they interacted? What's the story there? I got more questions than I do beliefs. Manfall saying, I believed aliens could exist all my life, but Martin, believe me when I say I've come across undeniable proof that we have been visited for thousands of years. I completely understand when people look at me when I'm batshit. Look at me when I'm batshit nuts. Yeah, what's the that's what I was thinking was missing there. Right, look at me like I'm batshit nuts. But what's the undeniable proof? Like, should we have an old fucking alien episode, an old Martin's World Alien special there, man? Falls, and we go through your proof. We can chat about the documentary as well. I'll have to watch the documentary as well. I mean, now chat about it. It sounds like you're trying to pick a lotto number. You got any good ones, Paddy? I need the winning ones if you have them. Castrodroga saying, neuroscientists often use activity in the brain on scanners after taking a drug as an argument to ban drugs without explaining what the activity actually means. That's right, yeah. This is like bringing in a picture and it's like, here's a brain, this is a normal brain, and this is a brain on LSD. And it's just like, this brain has like a region which is not really showing any heat on the heat map. Call it, I don't know, is it a heat map if that's what it's called, but that's what I'm going to call it. And then the brain on the LSD, it's like got a big fucking heat map and it's like big lit up region. And then it's just like, John, that's bad. But no real explanation as to why it's bad. Because they don't have any explanation as to why it's bad. They just want to try to make, oh, look, it's not doing it there, but it is doing it there, so it must be bad. But yeah, you're right. And as well, you know, on that argument as well, there's a lot of arguments as as to like the developing mind, you know, the developing brain and all of this kind of stuff, and not condoning younger use of cannabis, but again acknowledging the fact that I did start using cannabis at the age of 15 in the form of some of the local soap bar hash, which was lovely, yeah. But you know, not condoning underage use. But you know, you always hear the argument that the developing brain shouldn't be exposed to this, because it changes, like, you know, the what would I say, like the brain chemistry or whatever. But to be honest, doesn't everything change the brain chemistry? Like if you start like going out and playing a load of soccer, like does that not start changing your brain chemistry? Not to forget the impacts of like fucking hitting the ball all the time, but we won't go down that road in terms of TBIs and stuff like that. But yes, getting like, you know, developing some like new connections there. Doesn't that always the change? Isn't the brain chemistry changing anyway, regardless of you using drugs or what? I don't know. I was thought it was kind of a bunk argument. But again, not condoning underage use, but just acknowledging the fact that I did use it underage. Well, Leonard says it's ignorant to think that we are alone in the universe. They think of us as a primitive. The lizard people lived in the Amazon. Manfall says if nukes go off with this Russia-Ukrainian war, you can bet your bottom dollar we will see a massive increase in sightings across the world. Sightings surrounding nuclear facilities are extremely common. Yeah, that seems to be the theme there. I've been portrayed in some of those documentaries on Netflix. Leonard saying, apparently if you have a predisposition for schizophrenia, use at a young age can be problematic. Apparently, like this kind of whole thing around like schizophrenia and cannabis actually is like a whole kind of myth, really. That really, in fact, that people who are prone to be schizophrenia, be schizophrenic, sorry, also are prone to be more likely to use cannabis. So therefore, you know, that this kind of thing that cannabis causes or even brings on schizophrenia is kind of maybe not even true. And quite often or not, actually, there's people out there who actually would tell you that cannabis is beneficial for them and helps them with their issues, you know. Not all schizophrenia patients, but there probably is some. Shout out to Jesus down at the Pitch and Putt club here in Glanmire in Cork. He used to always come around and ask us, boys, you got no nudge for a joint? And he was a patient at the hospital, like, and he's like, you talk to him, he's like, what's your name? He's like, I'm Jesus Christ. Ah, local legend, like, but obviously the fellow wasn't very well at all. I wonder is he still around, actually, is he even still alive? But he was sound little fella. How dare you become mature too soon, Martin? I thought. No. Scatness there saying, well, if the endocannabinoid system is indeed balanced by cannabis, then teenagers may totally benefit from a low THC, high CBD, CBG ratio. There you go, Scatness. This is what I'm talking about. Like, where's the low THC varieties? Like, you know, the low, like the even the THC free, you know, stuff there. That's for maybe people with certain issues or, you know, looking for certain outcomes. So again, you know, because of prohibition, we've been denied the opportunity, so it's going to be a number of years yet before we see the benefit of that. You can imagine, envision a world out there today, if we never had prohibition of cannabis. Imagine what it would be like. Imagine the variety of products that would be out there on the shelves right now, featuring a number of different cannabinoids in a number of different kind of formats and, you know, all different kind of ways in which you can consume it, get it in, you know, into you, and, you know, all of that stuff. It'd be interesting to think, you know, even for myself, say, as an epilepsy fucking patient now, to be able to go out there and what would be there if we never had prohibition in place and we were proper studying cannabis and its effects there as a medicine. What products would be there for me as a patient right now to go out there and to be able to say, like, oh, you're suffering with seizures, right? There you go, get that into you. This is tried and tested. We know this is good for people with epilepsy. Boom, happy days, you know, sweet. Do you know, why don't we have that? Like, you know, I was like, oh, I can't sleep. There you go, that's for you. Do you know, happy fucking days. Do you know, oh, I would like to go and consume some cannabis and listen to some music with some friends. Great, there's a venue down the street there as well. You can go do that as well. Imagine that world, like. Are you fucking unreal? But again, that's just but a dream. A boy can dream. Hey, shout out to my one viewer over there on Facebook and my one viewer over there on Twitch. And to the 20 over there on YouTube. Guys, it's been a long one. We're 2 hours and 43 minutes. Shit, son. My bad. I am an awful waffler, but I enjoy it ever so much. It's an absolute pleasure, guys, to get on with you. To deliver some more cannabis news, to shoot some breeze there as well, you know, to have discussions about all different things there as well in the hot box, which is it's always welcome, guys, you know. It's always welcome. B. Mooney getting the final word in here. So cannabis allows for earlier diagnosis of pre-existing mental illness. There you go, guys. Cannabis for the future. Teresa saying I came over to YouTube for the poll. Come on, Teresa. Right, guys, bye-bye. I'm going to say goodbye because I'll keep reading these comments for the rest of the night because I just love you so much, guys. You're all legends out there for coming and watching my show and to listen to me waffle. Keep it lit, guys. Stay blazed. Peace. Bye-bye.